Okay.
I want to call to order the Plains County Board of County Commissioners regular meeting for Monday, August 26, 2024 at 6 p.m. We'll have the prayer by Commissioner Sapp and the pledge by Commissioner Witt. Will everybody please rise?
Dear Heavenly Father, I'm moving to come before you again tonight, giving you thanks for another beautiful day for our great country and our county. And ask you, Lord, to be with us as we conduct this business that would be beneficial throughout the county. Father, we love you, we praise you, and forgive us where we fail you. Of course, in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So welcome everybody here tonight. We're going to have a long agenda here. So we don't have any amendments to the agenda, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, public input on non-agenda items. Anyone wishing to provide public comment, please file a comment card on the table at the entrance to the commission chambers. Please note all comments on non-agenda items are limited to 3 minutes and/or the board's discretion. So we will move to public comments. I've got a couple here that are just under public comments. We will be timing you at 3 minutes tonight, seeing though we've got so many to go through. So, Carolyn Rainey, would you like to come up?
First?
Yes.
Okay. I have a very serious concern about affordable housing in this community. It was my dream for Sugarland Apartments. That was supposed to be for veterans. That was my dream, and I helped do the grant on that. But then the last minute Goodwill bailed out on our nonprofit partner. But I still have a dream for something for veterans. And also, when I spoke to the lady in community development, she had told me that they had a few near misses of people that were gonna put businesses in America's Gateway Logistics Center. But when they did their due diligence, there was no housing available for them. And I understand that we need sewers in town to finish up the city, but I think it would be beneficial if they brought the sewers to the new areas of land where there's enough space where there could be development. And I don't know what direction that I would need to do that. I am bringing in a developer here on Wednesday, and I wanted to show him around. And what would have to be done to get the sewers to go across the C-19 canal, because there would be affordable housing for the people in America's Gateway Logistics Center. That would solve the problem. It would be right close to work, but we have no housing for them. If we could get the sewers over there, I have developers that would be willing to build. You know? So what would have to be done to do that?
Right now, everything that we are doing with the city county is under grants. So we're applying for grants. We're trying to get the city of Moorhaven done before we expand out. But if the contractor, the builder was willing to take on that expense, I mean, that's one way of doing it. Or they could put a package plant in at the development and do it that way too. But right now, I don't. It's something we'd have to look at. If we can get a grant
How would you go about writing a grant? And I would like to write a grant and focus on veterans. Who would I contact? How would I go about doing that?
I would work through our community development, and I'm going to a meeting later this week. It's COC. It's for the homeless. Have you got any connections with them?
No, but we definitely need.
I will send that to you. It's an organization that gets grants for homeless, and they have tried here a couple times, but I can tell you one of the drawbacks of getting a grant here is when we don't have a grocery store, it's hard to bring people in here that they're working more for the homeless, but it's hard to bring somebody in here when you don't have any services for them. But I will give you the number of that COC, and I'd like to say I'll work with you any way I can to try to get this in.
Yeah, because I have somebody coming here on Wednesday. And if they were to bring sewer there, about how many years would that take?
It just depends on where you get the grant and how fast it can be done, but I would say it's gonna take you at least 2 to 3 years to even get, once you get the grant, to even get the contract and get it put in, you know? It just doesn't go in overnight, but that would be up to, if you can get the grant tomorrow, it would expedite everything that's there, but,
If you got the grant, how long would it take to build the sewer there?
like I say, it just depends on how fast, and right now, with the capacity on our sewer plant, we've got a grant out there now to expand that, so we gotta look at that too. So.
Okay. All right, thank you
All right,
very
thank
much.
you.
Here, I would add, it's also tough to get a grant to go where there's not as many bodies. I think that's how we've been available to get the city of Moorhaven under a lot of grant funding. They're looking at the amount of bodies that this is gonna encompass. And to go where there's not as many populations, it's gonna be a tough grant. It's not impossible. I would always try, but it's just gonna be a little tougher where you don't have the population to get grants to do the sewer.
All right, next up, we have DJ McLaughlin.
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners, County Manager, County Attorney. My name is DJ McLaughlin. I reside at 1311 Crisdale Avenue in Muse. I want to voice my opposition to the comp plan amendment and rezoning applications that were submitted by Bayshore Farms for the 62-acre planned mine 4 miles northwest of the Westglade School. You will hear from many tonight and many more when the applications mentioned are addressed by P&Z and by the BOCC in the weeks and months to come. However, tonight, I choose to address the big elephant in the room. Everyone in Glades County needs to understand that what has residents in southwest Glades County and now in many other parts of Glades County all stirred up and noticeably upset could have been prevented. When asked how the big mess in the Crescent Acres area of Muse was ever allowed to happen, no one offers a response, and therefore no one offers ways that it could have been prevented. For months now, we have been discussing how such a repeat of that disaster can be prevented in the area surrounding the Bayshore Farms proposed mining site. First, it could have already been prevented before Mr. Singletary purchased the land. When supposedly a Glades County manager and for certain a Glades County commissioner were asked by Mr. Singletary if he purchased the property, then and now zoned ag residential, would he be able to establish and operate a commercial mine / dirt pit? The quick and absolute response should have been hell no / no way. Because that response was not given by Glades County officials, Mr. Singletary bought the land with hopes and with some degree of understanding that his mine would get approved. Since we are still at a point where we can still ask and respond to the question, how can another mine-related disaster wrecking a community and its roads, be prevented? Please do not continue to disregard state statutes, county rules, and ordinances and the will of the people by doing anything more to help a greedy businessman get into the mining business in our very special community. Yes, this is about property rights, being the property rights of the people in use that understood the mine site parcel in question to be zoned ag residential when they bought and developed their parcels. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next I have Diane Quigley, which I think is going to be read by Mrs. McLaughlin.
Hello, Robin McLaughlin, 1311 Chrisdale Avenue, use. Ms. Quigley is sick tonight and sent me this for me to read. My name is Diane Quigley. I live at 2214 Summerall Road in Use. At the time we purchased our ranch, we knew it was zoned agricultural residential. I do not want the Bayshore Farms parcel to be rezoned from ag residential to open ag. I have no problem with growth in our area, just not of mine. Please take into consideration the will of the majority and not just a few. Thank you respectfully.
Thank you. All right. That's all I've got under non-agenda items. Do we have any presentations or awards?
There's other people.
Yeah.
There's lots of other people.
I've got you guys under public hearing as number one. You're gonna come up. I'm not forgetting you. That was just public comment. Now we're gonna get into the public hearing. Number one, an ordinance amending the Glades County Code of Ordinances, amending Article B, Supplemental Regulations, Division 3, Special Exception Use Regulations by adding a new section 125-329, mining, mineral extraction, and processing.
Good evening, Chair, Commissioners. In front of you is a draft ordinance, as you had mentioned, to amend Article 5, Supplemental Regulations, Division 3, Special Exception Use Regulations by adding a new section of mining and mineral extraction and processing. And for the record, this has been properly noticed. I would like to give, I'm going to read this to you, which I normally don't do, but I want to read this to you because I wanted to go into the record and because of the audience this evening. For the background or detail of the report, the Board of County Commissioners has authorized and directed county staff to prepare a new Glades County Code section to govern the approval of mining operations in Glades County. Currently, there is not a specific code section that governs the approval of mining operations, and mining operations are currently reviewed and approved as a special exception under the general mining operations, special exception guidelines of the county code. I started to skip a line, excuse me. A new code section related to the approval of new mining operations is important to the county so that there is consistency, predictability, and standardization in the review and approval of special exception permits related specifically to new mining operations in the county. I want to provide you the timeline of your Board of County Commissioner meetings and the Planning and Zoning Board meetings. The Planning and Zoning June 18, 2024 meeting was a public hearing. County staff presented a proposed ordinance creating a new section under the Special Exception Use Regulations, which will be a new section 125-139, mining, mineral extraction, and processing at the P&Z's June 18, 2024 meeting. The P&Z provided several recommended revisions and directed county staff to incorporate the recommended revisions and to bring them back to the P&Z for review. The county staff was asked to reschedule the P&Z July 9, 2024 meeting to July 16, 2024 at 5:15 p.m. The rescheduled meeting was held at the Glades County Board of County Commissioners Chambers, 500 Avenue J, 2nd floor, Port Haven, Florida. The P&Z July 16, 2024 meeting, which was a public hearing. County staff presented revisions to the proposed ordinance incorporating the P&Z's recommended revisions from its June 18, 2024 meeting. Each item that was previously requested to change was reviewed. A draft ordinance from Bayshore Farms, Mr. Singletary, was also provided to the P&Z of their recommended changes to the latest draft as well. Many from the public spoke during public comment. After much input from the public and after much discussion by the Planning and Zoning Board members about proposed changes to the new code section on mining, the P&Z Board took action directing county staff to make changes to the proposed mining regulations and to then present the revised draft mining regulations to the BOCC for final decision-making on the adoption of the mining regulations as a new section 125-329 of the Glades County Land Development Code. The P&Z Board did not make any recommendations on the draft mining regulations related to the performance security section found in section 125-329F13. County staff, including the county attorney, prepared a revised proposed ordinance which included the performance security provisions contained in the proposed ordinance that was submitted to the BOCC as a part of the August 13, 2024 BOCC public hearing agenda item packet. The county attorney was not at the P&Z July 16, 2024 meeting. A letter from the county attorney that identified items for further discussion with the BOCC was submitted to the BOCC as part of the August 13, 2024 BOCC public hearing agenda packet. The BOCC August 13, 2024, this was your first public hearing. The county attorney explained the public hearing process for the proposed ordinance that was being considered by the BOCC for adoption. The county attorney provided a summary of the revisions that were recommended by the P&Z Board in their July 16, 2024 public hearing, which were included in the proposed ordinance. Many comments were made by the public under the public comment section of the public hearing process. The BOCC provided county staff with several recommended revisions to the proposed ordinance and directed staff to bring the proposed ordinance back to the BOCC in its second public hearing on August 26, 2024 with certain revisions. Revisions have been made to the draft ordinance as directed by the BOCC at the August 13, 2024 public hearing. The revised draft ordinance is attached with all the changes in the draft ordinance being shown by underlined strike-through. By law, a proposed ordinance amending the county's land development regulations must be considered by the BOCC at 2 public hearings before the board can approve the proposed ordinance. Public notice of the public hearing before the BOCC on Tuesday, August 13, 2024 and Monday, August 26, 2024 has been published. This is the second public hearing by the BOCC, which is the adoption hearing. I have provided you 2 separate motions here, depending upon if there's going to be further revisions tonight, so that we can then have it before the Tuesday, September 10th, 2004, 9 a.m. meeting. I also provided an ordinance, should you have all the changes that you, in this ordinance that you agree with, and if you want to go forward with the adoption. And the ordinance title is an ordinance of the Board of County Commissioners, Glades County, Florida, amending the Glades County Code of Ordinances, Part 2, Land Development, Chapter 125, Land Development Regulations by amending Article 5, Supplemental Regulations, Division 3, Special Exception Use Regulations by adding a new section 125-329, Mining, Mineral Extraction and Processing, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for codification, providing for scrivener's error, providing for conflict, providing for liberal construction, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. And Mr. Pringle, I was contemplating going page by page where the actual changes were made. Page 2 of 14. Under B, he added a definition for controlled elevation, and it is defined as the lowest elevation, which may be determined by the seasonal high water elevation at which water can be released through a control device. Are you satisfied with that change? By adding that?
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
On page 3 of 14, under special exception requirements, there was quite a bit added to this paragraph. The original language is all mining activities and operations conducted under the authority of a special exception issued in accordance with the provisions of this code shall be subject to the following restrictions, regulations, and conditions. Now what I'm going to read is what has been added. Special exception applications for mining operations shall be finally decided by the Board of County Commissioners and not by the Planning and Zoning Board. the standard application review and public hearing process for a special exception application shall be used, except that at the conclusion of the public hearing before the Planning and Zoning Board, the Planning and Zoning Board will provide the Board of County Commissioners with non-binding recommendations, and the final decision-making public hearing will be before the Board of County Commissioners, so that the Board of County Commissioners will make the final county decision on the approval of a special mining exception, and so that the Board of County Commissioners will make the final county decision on the approval of any requirements and conditions related to the mining special exception. If a mining special exception expires for any reason, including a revocation of the mining special exception by the county, a new special exception application and approval will be required before any new mining activities occur. Does that meet what you had recommended be added, that it was the final approval with the Board of County Commissioners?
Yes.
On page 3 of 14, E1, subsection C, the following language is added: the location and dimensions of staging areas for mining trucks. And the following language was deleted. And the deleted language is: no staging of any vehicle will be allowed off-site, and especially not on any public rights-of-way, and the staging of any vehicles on any public rights-of-way shall constitute an automatic hazardous traffic condition. That's already provided elsewhere in the ordinance, so this was a repeat. Do you agree with the addition and the deletion of that section? Find that? On page 414 F1, subsection A, in the original language, nothing has changed other than the property owner was, the word owner was given lowercase, where in the text it was uppercase for owner. The language that was added is, and this has to do with ingress and egress, the property owner shall continuously maintain the roadway in compliance with the requirements of the FDOT stability factor for as long as the mining operation is occurring. That you're good with that? Page 414 F1, subsection C. There is some language that's been added, and then there's some language that has been deleted. To start the paragraph, the property, and this is original language, the property owner where the mining operation is located shall ensure that neither public nor private property is damaged by the hauling of material, and that hazardous traffic conditions will not be created. In the event hazardous traffic conditions occur at any time, the county may, in addition to any other legal remedies, such as a code enforcement action, that are available to the county, terminate and prohibit the hauling of material through a revocation of the special exception. To follow is the added language. And the mining permit, where the revocation is rendered in a public hearing process before the Board of County Commissioners, we deleted the Planning and Zoning Board. Instead of the Planning and Zoning Board, or where the revocation is rendered in a nuisance abatement public hearing process that is heard by the Board of County Commissioners instead of the nuisance abatement board. There were minor strike-throughs, such as the word through, and then another strike-through was the word by, B-Y. Does this meet what you had asked as far as the changes? Are you good with those? On page 6 of 14, 4, subsection F, this is the original language. At the time of the mining permit approval, and here is new language, or any time thereafter during the mining operation, and we continue then with the original language, any non-agricultural uses are developed adjacent to a mining operation, the same vegetative/landscape buffer required and approved for the area adjacent to a public road right-of-way shall be constructed within the first 75 feet of the entire length of the property line adjacent to the non-agricultural uses. Are you in agreement with it, or at any time thereafter during the mining operation, that addition? On page 9 of 1412, and it is Hall Road. Basically here, what the changes that you requested were to change the approval by the Planning and Zoning Board to the Board of County Commissioners. And that's done in several different places in this paragraph. And then the word financial was added to additional performance financial security. Nothing else about that paragraph had changed other than that responsibility from the P&Z to the board, and then the clarification on the performance security. Is that good?
Yes, ma'am.
Then if we go to number 13, originally it was performance security, and we added the language financial, so it really reads performance financial security. And on subsection A, this is the section where I know there was quite a bit of discussion. I'm going to go ahead and read this into the record. Amount. The bond or other financial security amount shall be set by, we deleted the county community development director, and instead put in Board of County Commissioners. We deleted or their designee upon recommendation of the county staff, including the county's engineer. The engineer was deleted, and we inserted community development director, an amount of 125% of the cost. And then further down, there was another section where we had included of 125% of the costs. And that had to do with the maintenance and repair of any off-site roads and public infrastructure that may be affected or damaged by the mining operations. If we move to page 10 of 14, under the same subsection A, the language opinion of probable costs was added to that paragraph. So that section reads, and reasonable anticipated impacts, maintenance, repairs, and replacements of all off-site infrastructure and public improvements, including roadway improvements that may be caused by / related to the mining project, together with reasonable estimates of cost of same opinion of probable costs. We move further down this paragraph, the word establishing was replaced with the word proposing. The county engineer shall review the report and submittals from the applicant's engineers, and the county's engineer shall provide their own report and cost estimate to the county community development director or their designees for the county community development director's use in proposing, instead of establishing, the amount of financial security, and this is added to be approved by the Board of County Commissioners. Original language that shall be initially required for the mining project, the financial security by the, and we deleted community development director or their designee, and in that place we put the Board of County Commissioners. Shall be provided to the county as a condition precedent of the county's issuance of a mining permit. The financial security put into place for the mining project shall contain a requirement for a future adjustment in the amount of the financial security to cover the future, and we deleted the word adjustments and instead put in the word changes and the anticipated costs and impacts of the mining project. The following language is added to that sentence, which are secured by the financial security. The following has been deleted, the cost of which is secured by the financial security. And every year, in every 5 years, instead of the word from has been deleted, and we have added the word after. So every 5 years after the effective date of the first financial security report, the property owner or their designee shall, through a Florida licensed engineer, provide an update on the financial security to the county community development director that will include an update on any changes in any anticipated impacts, maintenance, repairs, and replacements of any items related to the mining project, together with a new estimated current cost estimate, and parentheses opinion of probable costs, that was added for said impacts, maintenance, repairs, and replacements. Thereafter, the county's community development director or their designee can request an update to the county's engineer prior report of the financial security requirements for the mining project. As with the original setting of the financial security amount, and we deleted county community development director and put instead the board of county commissioners, that was added, and we deleted or their designee will be authorized to make reasonable adjustments to the amount of the required financial security for the mining project for the purpose of reasonably protecting the county and providing satisfactory financial security to protect the best interests of the county as determined by, and we deleted the community development director, we added the board of county commissioners, and we deleted or their designee in their discretion. This following language that I will be reading was added to this subsection, paragraph A. The financial security provided to the county shall be available to also pay the county's costs, including legal fees and engineering fees that are incurred by the county in relation to the issuance of the mining special exception or in relation to the issuance of the mining permit or in relation to the mining operation or in relation to the enforcement of the county's rights and remedies related thereto. So there are quite a bit of changes in subsection A under performance financial security. Were you satisfied with those changes? Subsection B, this is a new section, and B was subsequently changed to a new C. So the new B says the property owner is liable to the county for the costs of the county that are related to the issuance of the mining special exception and the mining permit, and for the damages and costs of the county, including costs of enforcement that are the result of any violation of any obligations related to the mining operation, including any damages and costs of the county that remain after the payment/use of the financial security. Are you satisfied with the new B? And as I said, on page 11 of 14 is where the B became a new C. That was the only change to the subsection C. On page 11 of 14, if we go to number 19, that's blasting. And this is where we changed from planning and zoning board. We have that deleted, and we added the board of county commissioners. And we deleted the word special exception and put in blasting, so that it reads such as, no blasting shall occur as a part of any mining activity or operations without proper state permitting and permission from the board of county commissioners as a condition of the blasting. Are you satisfied with that change? On page 2 of 14, this is section C, conditions. It starts on 11 and continues to page 12. The language the new language added is, I will read, I believe that's the last sentence of that paragraph. The violation of a condition, limitation, or requirement of a mining special exception approval or of a mining permit will, in addition to any other legal remedies, such as code enforcement action that are available to the county, authorize the county, and we added the following language, authorize the county community development director to immediately suspend the mining operation on a temporary basis and to initiate a revocation of the mining special exception, and we removed to revoke, instead initiate revocation, and the mining permit through a public hearing process that is heard by the planning and zoning board. We deleted planning and zoning, by the board of county commissioners, and we deleted the planning and zoning board. And so that reads, authorize the county community development director to immediately suspend the mining operation on a temporary basis and to initiate a revocation of the mining special exception and the mining permit through a public hearing process that is heard by the Board of County Commissioners instead of the Planning and Zoning Board, or through a nuisance abatement public hearing process that is heard by the Board of County Commissioners instead of the nuisance abatement board. Are you satisfied with those changes to that paragraph? That takes us through the recommended changes that came out of your August 13th public hearing. Mr. Brindley, did you have anything to add?
You said a lot. We did put our best effort into trying to first capture all the requested revisions that were made, including several by members of the public that the Board of County Commissioners authorized us to include. Those were several of the changes, especially related to the financial security, performance security provision. As long as it's not a gunshot coming from a direction I have my back turned to, I'm okay. And the lawyer in the room. So those changes are all of the changes that have been read into the record are intended to accomplish the desires of the Board of County Commissioners, as indicated in the first public hearing. This is the second public hearing. In addition to, I have two other comments, in addition to the comments that Ms. Bouchons has read into the record. One relates to page 9 of 14, subsection 12. And remember, all of these subsections in this part of the ordinance are under the category of minimum criteria, standards, and conditions. That is the overall title, minimum criteria, standards, and conditions, essentially of the mining approval. In subsection 12 on page 9, we have the reference to the approval of the haul route. And that section begins by saying that a proposed haul route plan from the mining site to the county line shall be prepared by a licensed engineer. That language from the mining site to the county line, I drafted that originally in anticipation of most of the material, of the mined material, leaving the county going to some other place, because we don't have a lot of residential development or development in Glades County. Well, it has been pointed out to me that that especially with some of the growth that is being proposed in other parts of the county, or the northern part of the county, that there may be material that will be hauled to a site in the county, not across the county line. And so I would ask and permission to make a change to that section 12, F12, to add language that addresses the fact that if there's a hauling location in the county, if material is going to be hauled to a location in the county, that then the mine owner could ask for the community development director to issue a special permit to approve that other route. So when the special exception is approved, the haul route from the mining site out of the county will be approved by the Board of County Commissioners. In anticipation of the possibility that there might be material hauled to someplace in the county, then I would like to add a sentence that says, if that occurs, then the community development director, a request could be made to the community development director to approve that route to that location in the county. The concept is to not bring back a change to the Board of County Commissioners every time somebody's going to haul material to a location in the county, when the community development director can address that. it would have a much more limited impact. Unless, of course, and I would add this language too, if a mining owner came in and said, there's a 1,000 residence development going in on the north end of the county, and we would like to, we've been contracted to haul all the material there for that development, and it'll be, 5,000 truckloads of material, then I would also add language to authorize the community development director to say, whoa, that's a lot of material, that's a big impact on the county. I want the Board of County Commissioners to make this decision on this substantial impact on the county. So what I'm proposing is to be allowed to add a sentence that covers that event, and that either gives the community development director to approve with conditions that haul route if it's limited, or if it's going to have a major impact on the county or be a major hauling of material, then the community development director could refer it to you for a decision. So I would like to add that sentence. And that was just a shortfall that I didn't see before when I wrote this, and it was pointed out to me, and so I wanted to make sure to include that reference as well. I think it is a good point to make. Other than that, you'll see that the performance security provision has a number of changes to it to address and to make that language consistent with the language that you have already in your code related to subdivision plat approvals. And so the 125% number for the security amount of the opinion of probable cost is consistent with what you already have in your statute, in your ordinances, rather, excuse me. So I did that, we accomplished that, and tried to make it clear that our opinion of probable cost is coming back here to be approved, but would be approved after your engineer, after your experts, after the county's experts also have an opportunity to determine, to give you an opinion on their belief of whether the opinion of probable cost is an accurate representation of the cost. So cost for the impacts on infrastructure, on the county's infrastructure off-site, but also related to the reclamation and buffering requirement. So we did all of that as well to try to make this as good of a starting position as we can in light of the fact that this is a brand new topic that we are addressing with this ordinance. So this is not one where we've had something to look at before to modify. This is brand new, and so we've tried to make it the best we could in the way that we've written this. The one other item that I did want to point out, because there was some discussion about it at the last public hearing, was on page 6, where we say that if at the time of the mining permit approval, and then I put back in, or at any time thereafter during the mining operation, any non-agricultural uses are developed adjacent to the mining operation, the vegetative buffering will be installed by the mining operator adjacent to that new use. There was some talk about that, and especially with regard to new uses coming. But if a new house is built next to a mining operation, I've seen it before where the mining operator then would construct a buffer, and that is something that you require before in other special exception approvals to do that. So I wanted to make sure that I point that out. I don't want anybody to suggest that I'm making any tricks, and that's also why I highlighted that language to make sure that I can point it out to you. So that's there. And then, like I say, we've tried to address everything that you asked us to do. The control elevation definition, by the way, is the definition that is recommended for use by the chairman of the Planning and Zoning Board, who made that suggestion in the Planning and Zoning Board meeting. And he is an engineer, so he's the one who made that recommendation of the language. Actually, we provided the chairman of the Planning and Zoning Board with some options and said which one of these was most in line with what you were discussing at the Planning and Zoning Board, and this is the one that he said was most in line. So those are all the changes, and with that one provision to section F12, with that one sentence that I would ask that you allow me to add, it stands as written into the record by Mr. Shaw. This is the public hearing process, Mr. Chairman, so now that all the changes have been described by the board, you can proceed with the public hearing process.
Mr. Chair, I got one question to the attorney. So if there's a mine that opens up down the road from me and I want to purchase 2 loads of dirt, I'm going to level my yard or whatever. So that mining operator is going to have to go see Ms. Buchanan for a routing to his mine to my property.
That's what the ordinance would say.
So every load has to have a projected weight.
That's what the ordinance would say.
Right.
The idea would be that minimal impact could easily result in a quick response from
Right.
an issuance of a permit with no conditions.
Right. It's ultimately going to be before planning is on again. Ms. Buchanan, if that happened tomorrow, would make the decision, is it okay to bring 2 loads of dirt to
No, sir, it would not go to the Planning and Zoning Board, I'm sorry. To clarify, what I'm suggesting and what I discussed earlier was that the Community Development Director could approve it.
Right.
So it would not go to the Planning and Zoning Board. If it was somebody came in and said, hey, I want to haul 2 loads of material over, I remember that you have that provision in your code, and I want to get a special permit for that. She could say, yes, that's fine, and it would be done and over. And then if somebody came in and said, I'm going to haul 1,000 loads of material to this place,
Right.
she might say, I need a little bit more material, and then I'm going to refer this to the Board of County Commissioners for their approval.
Right.
So she would have that discretion. I did not anticipate, and I don't believe the Community Development Director would place a substantial amount of requirements on somebody that wants to hold 2 loads.
Right. 2 loads, if my 2 loads becomes 500, that's when
The change in status would occur.
Right.
That would require a little bit more review.
Right.
Trying to strike the balance.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Any other thoughts from the
Yes,
board?
with all the concern about the school, I think I would like to see a stop time. They can't start until after all the kids are in class. They can haul it to the time the kids are getting out of class. They have to stop then, and then after the kids are all gone, then they have to haul again until 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, whatever. But having something like that and having the sheriff's department trying to watch it too, that's just a safety factor that I think I would like to see written in there somewhere.
Mr. Chairman, if I may clarify. So, just to make sure that I understand, and so we all understand, then I think what I understand anyway that you're saying, Commissioner Sapp, is if the haul route because you've got to approve the haul route. If, initially, if the haul route goes past the school, then you would not want that haul route to be used except in certain time frames. So it's not to interfere with the school. So if they had a second haul route or an alternate haul route, they could use that.
Yes.
And they could operate, they could handle material on the site. That would not be affected, but you don't want trucks in or close to the school during certain times. And would those be pickup and drop-off times? I mean, would you say are you thinking that you would not want vehicles to be in the school zone? I guess I would have to refer to that and say, are you thinking that you would want to limit the truck traffic in the school zone during certain times? Is that what you're saying? Is that where you're headed?
Yes, whenever the kids are being brought to the school and dropped off,
Okay.
they cannot ride, they cannot haul. After all the kids are gone in class and won't be any kids out there, then they can haul again. But when kids are getting out of school at 3 o'clock or whatever time, they can't haul from there until all of them are gone. All of them have been picked up. And then from that point, after they've been picked up, whatever time they haul to, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. But I'm just thinking more of a safety factor too.
So, Mr. Chairman, in that situation, if the board says, yes, they want to add that provision, then I would say we should talk to the school district and find out the starting and ending time, the pickup times, so that we would know and maybe just describe a time certain.
Yes.
I see that, we're gonna have the right as this board to designate whatever haul route, whatever mine it is. Now, I'm not just talking about this one mine, I'm talking about any mine. And if this board decides that the three out of the 5 say you're not gonna drive past the school at all, then that would be the haul route, right?
Yes, sir, and that is a very good point.
So why would I wanna limit myself to, when I have discretion now at the end to do whatever I want, but whatever this board wants, not me, but as a total, because we're gonna have a lot of input from people in this room. That's one reason I wanted this to come as a Board of County Commissioners decision instead of planning and zoning, so that the people in this room can have a voice that's can be heard and changes can be made because of that. So, whatever you guys want to do, but the school hours could change year to year. If you're right in there, today it's 8 to 5 or 8 to 3, and tomorrow it's, so I think we have the authority to do whatever we want to with this, the way it's written now.
My question, excuse me, Chair, if I may, my question is, do we leave this like it is, and then under the special exemption application, that's when we craft it to where the mine is actually gonna be? Because the mine in Palmdale, school zones are probably not gonna be affected by it, but if you're in a community, it would be affected. So, do we leave this open? And I'm not opposed to what Mr. Commissioner Sapp is saying, I agree with it, but is it in this ordinance, or do we do that as far as a special exception? Because we have more room to craft it to the location.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
The parameters in the ordinance, and that's one of the reasons that I started out with the title of this subsection F, these would be minimum criteria, standards, and conditions, minimum. And so you are correct. On a case-by-case basis, when a special exception application and staff report, with all the engineering reports and all the other reports that go along with it, come before the Board of County Commissioners, the Board of County Commissioners could say, on a case-by-case basis, to not allow truck traffic in front of the school and the hours where children are picked up and dropped off on a case-by-case basis as a condition of the special exception. Then, if that condition of the special exception was violated, then that would be grounds to terminate the special exception, or to have the case come back before the Board of County Commissioners to possibly terminate the special exception. It could be a condition, yes, of the special exception. So it can be either place.
So we could add it as school time, but that's just a minimum. Would be a minimum suggestion, basically. It could be changed, just because it's written in there that it could still be changed by the board under the.
Yes, sir, so you could make it more stringent, but you could not make it any less restrictive. And you could have it not in there at all in this ordinance and do it on a case-by-case basis as a condition to the special exception. Those are your two, as I see it, the two choices that you have as to how you address this topic.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, because according to this ordinance, each case is gonna have to come before the board anyway, so.
That's correct. The Board of County Commissioners, as rewritten, would make that final decision as to approval or denial of a special exception for a mining operation, and also as to the conditions that are put on to the mining operation.
And each applicant will have to provide the haul route,
Yes, ma'am.
so that's when, you know, we could go over and determine.
And there is a substantial, Mr. Chairman, and there is a substantial amount of engineering requirements and road construction requirements and in the provision related to. By the way, the Board of County Commissioners has the authority to separately approve. This says that you, the Board of County Commissioners, will also approve the haul route. So that's something that you can do as well. And I mean, technically, you could approve the special exception for a mining operation and not approve the haul route that was selected, but say, now you got to come back with a different haul route that we will approve. You, the Board of County Commissioners, approve haul route.
So really, there is no need to put that into this ordinance, because we'll be dealing case by case. There's a special exception. With
Well, yes,
everything
ma'am, you
concerning-
will.
With everything concerning the mining operation, it looks like it's coming back to us.
Yes, ma'am, it is coming back to you. And the addition of the language to this ordinance creates a minimum absolute standard that you will not move from. So that's what happens if you put it here in this ordinance. It becomes a minimum criteria.
We're only concerned about haul route to get you out of Glades County. Say there's I don't want to propose mine, just for, I have no insight on that, but if a proposed mine went very north into Brighton, where you just have a few miles, sometimes a few feet where you're right over the county line, we're not concerned about a haul route through Highlands County. We're just concerned about getting you out of Glades County.
Just getting out of Glades County, yes, sir.
So that's where I would want to be careful about really cutting this down and then looking at the special exceptions and looking where it's going to be and then crafting it more detailed when we see where, because north end of Brighton and down my street are going to be two different things. North end of Brighton, there's no housing, and run however they want, there's just not going to be any disturbance of anyone. But if you put one down the street from me, probably not going to want trucks banging up down the road at 9 o'clock at night. Or later. So I think, especially in sections where we can direct it down to get it more suitable for location.
Correct.
I do agree. I believe it should go case by case through the special exception, because if you'll think about it, the Highway 27 is a school route, a school zone, excuse me. I know the school set's further back, but the parking lot owned by the school board is right next to 27, so the haul route case by case.
We'll take public comment just a minute.
So it's just dependent on whether you want it described as a minimum criteria in this ordinance, or whether you want to do it on a case-by-case basis when the special exception application comes before the board.
Well, I think we have the authority to do whatever on the whole route, the way it's written, so I don't see why it needs to be in there right now.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, I didn't mean to interrupt you earlier. I was just gonna say, I agree, because each case individually is going to be coming before us anyway.
Anything else before we let the public come up? Sam, Franny,
I was just gonna ask, maybe if you could,
I'll talk to the.
all right. I'm only asking for you to,
If I could have a point of order first, please. This will make sense in a second. All of these folks that came here from the southwest corner of the county tonight.
Come up to the podium.
Okay, this is very important in respect of these folks. Most of them here for the first time. They had a clear understanding. There was a public hearing tonight on the mining ordinance. They had a very clear understanding that Mr. Singletary's Bayshore Farms applications have not come in front of planning and zoning yet. They have not come in front of you. These people in public comment wanted to talk about Mr. Singletary's applications. Later, they would like to speak in your public hearing. So if you would, whether you do it now or at the end of the public
I'm gonna do
hearing.
it right now, I'm in public hearing.
But they want to speak twice. The Bayshore Farms mine is not what's on the issue tonight.
I already did public comment on non-agenda items.
They wanted to speak on that, and you shut them down.
They didn't fill in the paper. I asked them.
The papers that they
This is all
have,
on the mine that says number one.
well, you explain to them why they can't speak in public comment and separately speaking in the public hearing.
I can open public comment back up. if
Thank
that's what
you.
want.
That's all I was asking.
But they didn't apply to speak in public comment. I got your three right here with public comment. I've got these people all on this number one. But they're gonna get to speak if they fill out my favor, they can speak whatever they want. Well, I will let you all speak, don't worry about that. We're not shutting nobody down.
Diane King, Brandon,
Just say
1582
your address.
Gate Road for the record. I was only gonna ask you to move on and let us speak, that might help make the decisions that you're talking about now about school zones and other things, so that when we all get it, you have everybody's ideas, and then could make some proper decisions for the ordinance. That's all I
All
want.
right, thank you.
It's gonna be a long night.
Come on up.
I'm Constance Lyle. I live at 1443 Summerall Road in LaBelle, the Lease area. Good evening, Commissioners. And thank you for the opportunity to speak with you again. Tonight, I would like to commend your staff for the extensive work that has been done on the Glades County mining ordinance in a relatively short time. However, as thorough as it may be, it looks to me that all aspects of ordinance can be addressed with special exemptions. Of all the forward thinking of safety concerns projected in the ordinance, I find the lack of concern over county-wide school zones appalling. It is very disappointing that the reality of the safety of school families in having dedicated mining truck traffic pass by the school on a daily basis has been left out of the ordinance. There will and has been trucks using roads in front of schools, but I see no reason to add 100+ more on a daily basis without additional safety precautions. No one is going to volunteer any protection of school zones in special exemptions. It has to be an item of interest in the ordinance itself to be addressed by the applicant if needed. denied until school safety is addressed. Clearly stated, if there is no mention of concern over school site safety in the ordinance itself, countywide, it is doubtful that it would be addressed at all in special exemption. They're going to apply for the special exemption. If there's nothing in the ordinance about schools, they're not gonna bring up about the school zone. That being a given, I find it imperative to add school safety as a countywide concern in the ordinance. Then the applicants can address it in the special exemption application if it is a concern for them. That's all I have. I mean, if it's not an item, then why would they ask for a special exemption for it? They say, oh, there's nothing about schools there. They're just gonna go drive it on in, you know? So I think something about the schools of concern should be in the ordinance so that if anybody needs to move forward on it, then they can. But, you know, you're not gonna be just bringing it up out of the blue, I would think. I think that's how it works.
Ms. Connie, that's what I was getting at when I said what I said, is get something in there.
Yes, I think you need it on the ordinance first, and then the applicant is the one that puts in the special exemption. But if it's not in the ordinance, nobody's addressed anything about the schools in the ordinance itself, why would it come up in special exemptions? Because they're the ones applying for the special exemption. It's not your business to bring up things about, well, we should add this, unless they're asking about it, I think.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, I believe the haul route has to be provided as well, am I correct?
Well,
We got your point.
okay,
Thank you. So to address, we're gonna finish up this, this hearing first, and then if anybody wants to do public comment after that, I'm gonna open public comment back up, but we're gonna finish up the hearing before I stop what I'm doing. So right now I've got Linda Scholl, would like to speak. Is she here?
Linda Schultz, 1213 North Swinging Trail, Muse, South Florida. I have a couple of questions. First of all, when Mr. Singletary purchased this property, was it his intention to have a mine, or was it just for agriculture, as the area is already zoned residential agriculture? Why put a mine in this particular area? What is the benefit, what is the detriment to this particular area for a mine of this size to go into an agriculture residential area? Who helped with the verbiage in this ordinance? Were his lawyers involved in helping write the verbiage for the ordinance for Clays County mines? Don't we already have mines in Clays County? And if so, why is this now coming to fruition? I know we need exceptions, we need mining. We already have mines here in Clays County. Is that part of the problem of what happened to Moorhaven? Just asking.
Well, I could answer you, one reason we're having this is because of you people right here. I
And
mean,
that-
otherwise, he would have applied for his permit, he would have got it and went on down the road.
Right.
But you guys are putting on such a big fuss, so we're trying to get an ordinance passed that will give rules and regulations, and that's what's.
But do we already have anything on?
We don't have anything on
Nothing.
mines.
So how are there already mines here in Clays
Mr. Chairman,
County?
I can answer that question.
Sure.
Thank you. All of the mines that are here now, to my knowledge, and there might be one or two exceptions, the one out on, what's the guy's name? Anyway, he's he's not operating anymore off of Crescent, was approved to transport across the county road. And there's one other one that I believe may have been approved at one time, a long time ago. But other than that, all the other mining operations, the main ones in the county, are located on a state road. And so as long as they're on a state road, there has not been, in terms of the impact on county infrastructure, there's not been a big impact. There was discussion, well, we had the problem with the guy out on Crescent, and that was the initiative of us to start looking at what to do with projects that were located on county roads. Unfortunately for Mr. Singletary's project, he came in and started having conversation with people at the time that, or shortly after, we had that problem was started. So he's got a bad timing situation on his hands. But the reality is that project with the guy out of Crescent was the one who initiated the thought about, we got a problem, how can we fix it?
All right. So if you know you already had a problem in that area on Crescent, why would you put another mine in this location?
Very good question.
We haven't voted on that yet.
Well, I'm just asking it, just put it out there. So, thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I just want to reiterate, this is the steps we take to prevent the issues on Crescent. This is what's going to protect us. This keeps us from being the Wild West. And this is just the first step. Through special exception, that's where we craft it to the location, if I believe.
Right, and this is an ordinance for all of Glades County. This tonight isn't in particular just for the proposed or possible mine that might be coming to use. Of course, there has been no application for that, but we need an ordinance.
All right, Mr. Bob Schultz.
Just getting nervous coming up here. Bob Schultz, 1213 North Swinging Trail, Gulf Park. All right, let's see. Did you ever think that your life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness could be taken away from you? Well, in the meetings to come, you will possibly experience it. But please don't let it discourage you. We, the people, can let our voices be heard. Not only in Washington, D.C., but here in Glades County. According to our Declaration of Independence, the unalienable rights we have cannot be transferred to another. Even commissioners, no matter what they may be offered by Bayshore Farms. Do not take our ag residential zoning away from us. Just don't do it. Please don't do it. All right? Thank you.
Thank you. Robin Rose. You have Robin? No? You don't want to speak?
Are you pulling up
Hoping
Okay, guilty.
Susan Stevens.
Susan Stevens with the law firm of Stearns Weaver Miller in Tallahassee, Florida. We just, on behalf of Bayshore Farms, we do appreciate the time and effort that staff, Mr. Pringle, and the Planning and Zoning Board and the commissioners have put in to create a level playing field and a mining ordinance that applies countywide. We understand you've had some bad actors, And we appreciate that you're putting in place enforceable standards that can be tailored based on the specifics of the project. And we believe the county has given itself enough authority to be able to do that, to impose conditions that are tailored to the project at hand, tailored to the truck haul route that is presented to you, which must be presented to you, and to protect the county against adverse impacts. And we thank you for your work on this.
Thank you. Martin A. Van de Ven.
Martin Vanderman, 319 Malbrush Avenue, LaBelle. Commissioners, good evening. My name is Marty Vanderman. I live at Maple Corner Community at the intersection of Whidden Road and State Road 29. I'm the president of the HOA of the community, and I'm here to represent our community this evening with the many residents that are here. Please stand up. You all know the saying that stuff runs downhill. Well, that hill ends at our community. We're at the corner of Whidden Road and State Road 29. If there's a haul route that goes out, that's where it's going to go out. Okay. The entrance and exit from our community is 250 feet from that intersection. I don't know how many of you have driven that area in the morning, but as someone spoke to earlier, school buses, parents going to and from dropping their kids off to school, it's a very busy intersection. And if the trucks from the mine are going to go out that way, we're going to have more of a problem. Now, I heard you say that, talk about times, that they couldn't travel up and down that road. I think that's a good idea. Also, the County Board of Commissioners has approved a planned development zoning district of Muse Village Lakes that also borders County Road 731 with a total of 625 new homes. That will also add traffic to that intersection at Whidden Road and State Road 29. I want to ask the board a question. Do you know what the state of Florida has planned for that intersection? Do any of you know the proposed change? The new bridges that are going there at Henry County?
I attended a DOT meeting and saw all the plans.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So that intersection is going to be a roundabout. So now you can add some more confusion.
That's one of the.
Okay, because most people don't know how to use a roundabout. So let's put in all the traffic from the school to and from, add sand trucks, and then and a roundabout. What do you think we're going to have in that corner?
Yes.
So that's what I'm trying to bring up here. If you talk about the haul road, my understanding is that the load limit's going in the opposite direction of the mine, instead of coming past the school, that the trucks cannot go out that way because of load limits. So it looks to me, unless I've missed something, that there's only one haul route, and that's down 731 to Whidden Road. So what I'm asking the board to do is consider this when you're working on this ordinance, okay? We're gonna have a real mess on that corner. I don't see any way around it. Okay? Okay, thank you.
Okay, Diane Sobel.
Diane was not able to make it, so my name is Richard Sobel, and her husband live at 2230 Silver Lake Road in LaBelle, Florida. So Diane wanted me to read this. We live in the Muse area, about a half mile from the proposed sand mine Mr. Singletary wants to operate on his property on LaBelle Bay Road. I'm assuming Mr. Singletary is an intelligent man and that he purchased the property with the full knowledge that it was not zoned for mine. My only conclusion is that he is so arrogant and accustomed to getting his way that he assumed he would get it this time too. Or that he was given assurances from an elected or appointed official that he could obtain the necessary exemptions for a zoning change after the purchase. Either way, his His assertion about property rights should never override property rights of hundreds of his neighbors. The residents of Muse have rights to quality of life. Sand mines throughout the county are causing concerns for neighborhood communities that include safety of the water from wells, air quality. There's a new concern expressed across the country about pulmonary silicosis in populations near sand mines. Now, if you commissioners don't know what silicosis is, or pulmonary silicosis is, I'm a licensed respiratory therapist. I can explain that to you later. Noise, lights, hours of operation, damage and excessive wear to roads from trucking traffic, public safety concerns with the volume of truck traffic, possible damage and annoyance resulting from blasting, even if there is a special exemption. Concerns regarding aesthetics and land use changes. In closing, she said, I found this on the Glades County Planning and Zoning page, and she quotes, zoning focuses on how land is currently being used and how it can be used in the future. The goal is to provide for public safety and to protect the character of the community. Zoning is a tool that plays an important part in helping local governments guide community growth and development. It is a division of land into zoning districts to ensure that growth and development progress in a fashion that minimizes potential conflicts between uses. Zoning is all about preserving the quality of health, safety, and welfare of the community. That's her statement. Now, I'm on the list too. Would you like me to continue?
Go ahead.
Let me just do this. What I've handed out is a copy of the Johnson Engineering Road Report for the Walter Greer Road, 731. And I would like to have it read into the record and possibly even read out loud, although I don't want to take up all my time doing that. But I will quote a section of it further on. I want it noted that the commission has voted to approve all the other Johnson Engineering reports about the road conditions in Muse, but chose not to include this one, which happens to go right by the potential mine and down 731, and as pointed out onto Walter Greer Road, down into Whidden Road and into 29, if that's the potential holdout. The report specifically states, and I quote, to reduce, and it's in the conclusion, to reduce the degradation of the road, negate the negative effects that increases truck traffic have on safety and other uses of Walter Greer Road, especially pedestrian and bicycles. The establishment of a no truck zone is recommended. This is Johnson & Johnson's report that you paid for and got it. A no truck zone is defined as a street or road or segment thereof on which the trucks are prohibited, except trucks traveling to and from a place abutting the zone for legal uses in existence at the time of the adoption of the no truck zone ordinance, which place would be otherwise inaccessible by truck. Therefore, I believe the commission has placed the wishes of one individual over the rights and safety of the residents of Muse. The new ordinance should reflect the comments and conclusions of Johnson Engineering Report. To go forward with the mine ordinance as written will affect the safety of the community, Muse community, and all the children that attend the Westlake School on Walter Greer Road. And as an addendum to that, I had a conversation with Sheriff Harden and asked him, could he monitor, as Commissioner Sapp was saying, monitor that area. And he does not have the staff, and you know that, to do that. So it would be uncontrolled. So thank you very much for your time. Oh, I'm sorry, last thing. In your page 9 of 14, the haul route, it says the proposed haul route shall be prepared by a licensed engineer registered by the state of Florida. I think you already have it in the Johnson Engineering report. Thank you.
Any other public comment on the mining ordinance?
Sorry, I didn't turn mine on. I was struggling to get out of here.
Dwayne Palmer, Plains County Sheriff's Office. I would like to add on behalf of Sheriff Martin, we did meet with Mr. Singletary today in reference to him providing a deputy during the school hours.
Absolutely.
So I want to put that out there. Nothing was set in stone, but we did have a meeting.
Come on up.
Sorry, I didn't turn my page in earlier. I can get it to you though. Yvonne Dahl, 1060 County Road 731. First thing is, I think what the other lady was trying to say earlier was that if a no school zone was written in the ordinance, it would be something no one would have to make a decision over. Right? Protecting that area, protecting that gym that we have, that you guys, I don't know if you guys understand how important the Muse area and the Westlake School are to us. But if you ever heard the old adage, come to a theater near you, well, you guys have a mind coming to a neighborhood near you with this ordinance the way it is, and it's gonna go right through your school zones too. So we want that protected, and I guess we're feeling like if that would have been written into the ordinance earlier, maybe we wouldn't be having so much negativity towards the ordinance, because we definitely need the ordinance, we know that. And it's important, but approving the ordinance without addressing the school zone at all, I think is very dangerous. Because we all have the knowledge of how cautious we need to be within that school. I hope we can add something to the ordinance that might take that into consideration. I think it's important. Thank you.
Who else wanted to speak?
Mr. Chairman, I'm Steve Dobbs, 1062 Jakes Way. I am the chairman of your planning and zoning board. A lot of the comments that have come out tonight, and I strongly urge you to consider you're tying your hands behind your back. You're going to come up with something that you're not going to be able to get people approved. I know we spent a lot of time in the planning and zoning board looking at from originally if there was a major collector road, to the major collector road, and somehow we overlooked to the county line. You know, meaning once you get to a major collector road, you should be able to go on any major collector road after that you need to go on. You know, the school zone, I understand that, you know, the school zones are protected with speed limits. School zones there's turn lanes down there. I happen to be down there. I'm actually doing a project at the new school currently. We're doing the bus charging stations down there, so I was down there looking at that project. They have to be letting out. You know, I realized there were a bunch of people on the shoulders. You know, they were out in the road. I had to actually go in the other lane to get past them. So I understand, you know, the situation that's caused out there. You know, but what you're not going to be able to do is you're not going to be able to keep other truck traffic that's not a mine off of that road using it. You know, they use it now. You know, these people, and one thing I found was we had a mine up in Okeechobee, and they were complaining about the truck speeding down the road. You know? And the guy who was running the mine said, "You let me know who it is, and I won't put sand in the truck or shell in the truck." And you know, the guys that own these trucks, they won't let that happen. So then the residents complain, everybody's going too slow. So if you make a believer out of it, if you put a sheriff out there at the beginning of this, and you make a believer out of them that they're going to get pulled, they'll stop doing it. Trust me, all the rest of them will let them know, because typically the people who are hauling this shell don't work for the pit. They're independent truckers and all that kind of stuff. But what I have seen myself is if you put the fear of God in them, they'll do what you tell them to do. You So, I know that, one of the things, and we had talked at the planning board about this, going through active subdivisions. I realize it's still in here. I think that's gonna come back to haunt you. I think somebody's gonna come in and make a recommendation to get something that you're gonna want, that your county's gonna need. It's gonna have to go through an active subdivision, and you're not gonna be able to approve it. So, again, I'm an engineer, I've done this for a long time, and I think you need to consider, how significant your time and hands are back. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Alice Barfield, School Superintendent of Glades County. Glasses on because I'm also getting old. I'm coming to you today not on behalf as an expert at land usage or a property owner usage. I'm coming as an experienced educational leader, and my number one priority is school safety of our students. I understand the critical importance of providing an environment for our students where they're safe. The presence of these vehicles, such as dump trucks in a school zone during peak hours, during drop-off and pickup time, is an alarming occurrence for several reasons. The speed of the trucks, combined with the already tight roadways, creates a dangerously hazardous environment. Children are often on the side of the road, waiting as well as being picked up. Sometimes our parent pickup lasts up to 40-45 minutes long. And there is, I don't know if any of you have been out to West Glades in the morning or in the afternoons, but the lines are very, very long, and there's very little shoulder on the road. So as he was saying, when cars are trying to get off the shoulder, to where we've asked parents, I've done several broadcasts asking parents, please get over on the side of the road. We want to we want to be good neighbors, our West Glades School, to the residents of Muse, because there are people that are coming and going, and we don't want to block the roadways. The first couple of weeks of school, it's very, very extensive when the lines are longer. The narrowness of the roads makes it much more dangerous. If you're in a small car and the grass hasn't been mowed, the cars can't get off, and if they do, sometimes it's wet. It just creates it's a chaotic environment, and in putting these trucks during these times would not be safe. The risk of accidents increases significantly. The congestion caused by this mix of traffic can lead to confusion and chaos, making it harder for drivers to navigate safely. I ask you to consider this policy to include the school safety zones. Like I said, I'm not up here. I'm only asking on a school-related because of the students and the parents that are in those lines and the trucks coming and going. I've known the Singletary family, and they're very good people, and I know they would not want anything to happen to any child, and I know that was never in their plan, but we all have a job to do, and my job is the safety of children. And that road is not on school grounds, so I have no control over anything that occurs on that road, but I'm asking you, for the parents and the students of West Glades, to please consider it.
Anybody else? Come on, Ellen.
Ellen Hughes, 1211 Catamount Road News. One thing I would highly encourage each of you in the next week or 10 days, go up on 31, right over the line in DeSoto County. There's a brand new mining operation, and I think you'd be impressed. A lot of this stuff in this ordinance is a little bit foolishness. We're trying to tell somebody that wants to come in and put a mine in what kind of trees they have to put in, how big they have to be, when they have to be. This new operation, they're not a tree to be seen. And they have their haul road going into where the mine is. well off to the side. There's not a truck out in the road. And we know the traffic on 31. And it's kind of a crazy place right now because they're building the solar farm across the street. I came down there this afternoon and there was at least 15 trucks going in on the Alico mine, which is an old mine, which is south of where the solar farm is. And I think people need to stop and understand that they got their piece of paradise, but they don't want anyone else to have it. You know, those of you that are in a cement block house, what's the cement made out of? Oh, I'm in a mobile home. Well, what's that mobile home sitting on? We're looking at this new operation out here on 78. Where's this dirt gonna come from? Are we gonna bring it in for somebody else and let them make the money on it? No, let's put our own people to work, keep our own people working, and go from there. And like I say, there's a lot of stuff in this ordinance that people aren't understanding. And I think you guys really need to stop and read it line by line. Thank you.
Jeff Patterson, 1358 Wagon Trail, and I helped draft the ordinance. There was a panel of 7 of us that are on there, with Mr. Pringle's help, with Ms. Sue Chantel. What we have to remember while we're looking at this and trying to take everything into consideration, there's nothing on the agenda tonight about a mining use. We're talking about an ordinance for the whole county. That's why it was written this way, so that things could be taken care of in the special exception process, either when the haul route gets approved, when anything else gets approved. You can hamstring yourself very easily, okay? But like Ms. Schultz had asked earlier, why are we doing this now? Because we've never had anything. It's always been a special exception process. When you have a special exception process, nobody has the same base set of rules to live off of. There's a million different ways to play poker, but there's a base set of rules to play each game. So that's what we need, is a base set of rules. We can always add to it. You can always add to it. You can add that you can operate between 8 and 8:30 in the morning. You can put in there that you can't operate after dusk. You can put in there that you can't open up if it's foggy outside. There's a lot of things you can add to, but nothing should be able to be taken away from that base ordinance. That's why it was written broadly. That's why you have a state law, you have a federal law, you have a county law, you have a city law. Nothing's going to trump that federal, but we can always add to a little bit more to improve the situation that needs to be taken care of at that time, at that location. So, granted, a mine that's on the backside of Palmdale is going to be a lot different than a mine on the backside of Muse. It's going to be a lot different than a mine just down the road from Mr. Whitten's by Hickman Sheet. For one, it's going to be different materials. It's going to be a lot of different materials. So whether you're doing shell, whether you're doing sand, whether it doesn't matter. But that's why there's a base set of rules. The other thing that we have to consider on this, with this ordinance, is it is very easy, because it's been done in the past, and it keeps going on right now. There are a lot of unlicensed, unpermitted mines in Glades County, and people say, oh, that's just taking account of it. But they sold the dirt off of it. Nobody got a darn dime. They didn't pay 1 cent of taxes to the county. It was never put on a property appraiser's website. It was never done anything else. So if we do this, and we can get that base set of rules, we can add to. We can always add to. But if you get that base set and say, here's where we are, it's got to go through a permit. When it goes through a permit, it goes through a property appraiser's office. Everybody has their hand in it where it can be controlled easier. Thank you.
Who else wanted to speak? Diane?
Why not? I speak at all the other ones.
Okay.
INC in Franny, 1582 Gate Road. I've lived there for 30 years in Muse. Most of everything that's been said was probably what I was going to say, that we've been coming to all of these meetings, planning and zoning meetings. We weren't scheduled, and it seems like everything we have talked about and requested has fallen on deaf ears because it hasn't hit the ordinance. And the main thing was the schools. Tonight it has been, and I find out that I find it to be ridiculous to think you could regulate hours during a school zone when trucks can go. This county does not have the manpower to enforce it. They don't have the manpower to enforce the speed limit on our roads. I can't tell you the last time I saw a deputy patrolling Muse. We're not a very crime-oriented, community. So to think about putting limitations on trucks, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna work, but it needs to go in the ordinance for your special exceptions. We haven't spoke about property rights, our property values, that this is, as Jeff was saying, this is an existing residential community. We were existing here way before a mine was ever thought about. And this gentleman put up a huge, ugly packing house on a curve where an accident is waiting to happen. I know he wants to pay for all these things, but it's not going to be monitored. It's not going to be the right thing to do. So I ask you, please, put these in the ordinance concerning the schooling, the environment, that it's a residential ag. We are a residential ag. We are not an industrial community, and you're going to have this moving forward for the county. You're going to have all kinds of land out there. Yeah, we need mining, but remember, you don't make 10 cents revenue, and you have all the liability to fix roads and enforce bonds and all that other. And I thank you for your time, and congratulations on your reelection.
Who else?
These I do need to distribute because they come with some recommendations of some of the articles within the ordinance itself. So I hope there's 4 of them there. First of all, Ms. Bouchons, I don't think you mentioned in your recap of the meeting earlier this month that 144 declarations of people in the county being against mines accessing county roads. I'm sure that was an oversight. But will it be read into the minutes who keeps the minutes from the public hearing earlier? Okay, hopefully it's in those meetings. And that's kind of where I'm going to start. My name is DJ McLaughlin, and I reside at 1311 Crisdale Avenue in Muse. In regards to the mine ordinance being voted on tonight, please make the following modifications to the draft that you have. Item 1, please add a restriction that prohibits a commercial mine from being approved that accesses onto Glades County roads. With over 183 residents from all parts of Glades County voicing their opposition to mines accessing county roads, how is it that 7 members of P&Z, 3 members of Board of the County Commission, and Mr. Whidden are able to completely disregard what county residents want and instead do as 5 people siding with Mr. Singletary as to what he wants with the mining ordinance say? By the way, those 5 people, including himself, that spoke at the hearing earlier this month, none of them resided in Glades County. The 183 declarations that we have now are for residents and landowners. Please note that Henry County is not currently allowing any new mines to be permitted and approved that access onto Henry County roads. Why won't Glades do that? Item 2, please place back into the draft ordinance the appropriate idea that staff, including the county attorney, had that the mine haul route should not include driving through school zones. Since there was a concern regarding County Road 25 as it runs north of the Moorhaven Middle School, that school zone can be exempted from the no school zones prohibition. Item 3, on page 2 of 14, under B, definitions, and this is very important. We may be here for a while getting this resolved tonight. please expand on the definition of major collector roads to clarify that roads within the county, such as Loblolly Bay Road, Walter Greer, and County Road 731 are not major collector roads. On page 14 of 4 of 14, item F1A, once again, please mention in the ordinance into record tonight that roads specifically like Loblolly Bay, Walter Greer, and County Road 731 are not major collector roads. Those two things really need to be clarified and expanded on tonight. The fifth and last one is also in the same paragraph, item F1A on page 4 of 14. Please include the requirement of the property owner when bringing the haul road up to FDOT's stability factors, that at the same time that the width of the road being upgraded is made to be as wide as the major collector road that it will connect to, and the reconstructed upgraded road include for safety reasons shoulders at the same time, that the shoulders that would be on the road that they're going to tie into. Point is, you're going to tie into state roads. State roads have shoulders, the county roads, and Chairman Stanley, I think this was a concern you had at last meeting. If they're going to upgrade the roads to stability standards, they need to also put the shoulders on there. So, thank you.
Good evening, Robin McLaughlin, 1311 Chrisdale Avenue. Use. I actually might take an extra minute because I'm speaking on behalf of 183 people in lieu of them coming here to speak. They all signed declarations and wanted it to be recorded that they opposed mines. The list of names I'm going to read opposing mines accessing Glades County roads are from every community in Glades County. And I will do this very quickly. It might take about 4 minutes, but I'm speaking on behalf of all of them. Carlton Abramson, Marty Abramson, Alberto Grafo, Rafi Ahad, Bruce Albaugh, Joyce Allen, Scott Alvin, Ken Alvey, Amanda Baker, Edward Beeman, Charles Burke, Nikki Bishop, William Bishop, Michelle Blaha, Rita Blake, Robert Bott, Larry Bryan, Maria Burrows, Amy Busby, Danny Callahan, Becca Calloway, Carrie Carson, Anthony Cava, Diane Ciafrani, Curtis Clay, Douglas Connor, Eddie Cordon, Barbara Cordon, Anthony Carrera, Brenda Carrera, Patricia Crease, Richard Crockett, R. Croswell, Bob Daniels, John Denny, James Dahl, Yvonne Dahl, Fred Douglas. Lynette Douglas, Cheryl Duenas, Edward Eaton, Ellen Fasciano, Bob Fairchild, Lori Fairchild, Alicia Sparna, Penny Farrell, Timothy Farrell, Mary Farrell, Kevin Flanagan, Edward Fletcher, Nancy Fletcher, Kellen Franco, Roberto Gadea, Tiffany Gadea, James Gargano, Sarah Gardner, Gary Gaynor, John Genova, Matthew Germain, Gail Gidley, Sharon Gidley, Rebecca Gill, Verdia Gill, Robert Gillen, Alex Grant, Mary Grant, Deborah Griffin, Storm Hale, Mike Pollable, Leslie Helyard, Nicole Helyard, Ruby Herrero, Yama Hillamar, Tom Hallman, Brian Honorlaw, Krista Wood, Cynthia High, Beth Iavana, Steve Iavana, Janet Irwin, Peyton Jamek, Charles Jamek, Lane Jenkins, Evelyn Jenkins, Sarah Jewell, Steve Jewell, Charles Jones, Loretta Jones, Tracy Katz, Judith Kay, Andrew Kay, Lynn Jolcone, Desiree Costridas, Carol Kraft, Steve Kraus, Mary Lambert, Christina Lang, Donna Lang, Ray Lang, Angelique Lazorzak, George Lazorzak, Dennis Lee, James Leitner, Curtis Lester, Ronald Lewandowski, Roger Little, Tammy Jo Little, CeeLo Lopez, Annette Lyle, Constance Lyle, John Lyle, Shauna Lynn, Edward Vidal, Robert McGuire, Donald Marriott, Kathleen Marriott, Jonathan Martinez, Althea Mayhew, Jeff McGurk, Julie McGurk, DJ McLaughlin, Robin McLaughlin, Dylan McLaughlin, Susan Mercedes, Hillary Metz, Anita Mueller, Karen Murray, Paul Mulchler, Darlene Naiman, Andy Nelson, Heyman Noriega, Jeanette Noonamaker, Jeff Noonamaker, Rex Patterson, Barbara Peace, Erwin Perez, Diane Quigley, Jim Quigley, Robin Rhodes, Patricia Rich, Michael Rich, Debbie Riddle, Gerald Roberts, Linda Roberts, Jan Irma Rodriguez, Tico Salgado, John Schittler, Sharon Schittler, Linda Schultz, Bob Schultz, Faye Scripter, Eleanor Slater, Robert Slater, Diane Sobel, Richard Sobel, Hildalina Solis, Ann Stark, Heather Stark, Stephanie Starr, Warner Sutton, George Sweetman, Sandy Sismansky, Regina Tenke, Bill Tuttle, Joyce Tuttle, Martin Vandeven, Paulette Vandeven, Tim Vanderpool, Veronica Vanderpool, Norm Wagner, Crystal Walker, Porter Walker, Annette Wallace, James Washburn, John Williamson, David Wine, Elizabeth Wolf, Chris Wolf, Vonda Woodward, Luke Wyatt, Deborah Ziegler, Kevin Ziegler, and they wanted it to be known that they oppose mines accessing Glades County roads. Thank you.
Anybody else want to speak?
Good evening, Commissioners. Tina Ekblad, Director of Planning with Stearns Weaver Miller. We just want to note that two of the names, specifically Mr. and Mrs. Abramson, that were previously read out, have emailed each of you and withdrawn their participation in the signatures that are going around. They have met with Mr. Singletary and actually support this operation now that they have accurate and correct information as to what it is that he intends to do. And for the record, we note that we do not have a special exception under consideration as a result of the moratorium, and any past information was withdrawn, and so to be talking about that tonight would not be appropriate. Thank you very much.
What was your name again?
Tina Ekblad.
Okay.
Now it's 181 to 2.
Anybody else want to speak before we continue? Okay, so the only thing that I have really seen everybody up in arms about is the school zone. So should we put some kind of wording in there that says that the school zone would need to be considered by the engineer as to the safety of hours and directions and whatnot? A safety specialist needs to look at the school zone or something?
Yes, sir. You can add language that says that, and you would probably put it in the whole route provision, that subsection 12. You can require the applicant to disclose the school zones in the proposed truck route. You can ask the applicant, require the applicant to describe the times, and you can require the applicant's engineer to describe recommendations, and then you have the ability to go to anybody that you think is an appropriate expert and get an opinion from them. So, but you can require, yes, sir, you can require the applicant to submit information on school routes.
Because I've heard both sides. Some say don't have it hours, some say don't have it to a school zone period, some say this, that, but, so I mean, even, I know a lot of people are using the school zone just as a wedge for, but there could be another route, you know, so I even could go north, you know, so I don't know, but if we want, I'm leaving up the board, if you want to put special language in there about consideration of the school zone, then, but
my opinion is that's where we do that in a special exception, because, you know, my belief is this needs to remain somewhat vague, because if we're mining whatever material north of Brighton, in Glades County, none of that would apply. And if we come to actually do a special exception and a school zone, you know, we're gonna know when that special exception is applied for, correct me if I'm wrong, but we'll know the routing that's intended. We're gonna know, I mean, I heard one lady say that we wouldn't take that into consideration. Of course we would. I mean, that's where the special exception, in my mind, comes in after this countywide ordinance, just to craft where this thing is. I don't think we need a bunch of rules that don't apply if we're talking about North Pondville, North Brighton, someplace that's not going to interact with traffic, school zones, or residential areas. I think the special exception is where we craft it down to location.
And I want everybody in the room to realize that, so we're making this, it's a mining ordinance. But when a particular mine comes in and applies for a special exception, you guys are gonna be right back in here again, and you'll be talking about that specific route and that specific mine, and it'll be up to this board to, well, it's gonna go to planning zoning first, but then it's gonna be up to this board to make that final decision. So what we're passing here tonight is not in particular to any mine in the county. It's just a standard guidelines, but you guys, I know you're gonna be back in here when the special exception comes, and it will be a public hearing again, and I know you're gonna bring your concerns again and again and again. So, I mean, does it need to be in here? I don't think so, because there's gonna be mines in the county that are on dirt roads. There's gonna be mines on the county. There's property in the northern end of the county, there ain't even a house out there. And that's where the mine should be, but right now, we're where we at today, but you will have public input on every mine that's put in this county. They will have to go through a special exception, and there will be public hearings on every mine that comes in here, the route they're gonna haul it, and then it'll be on a case-by-case basis. That's my opinion.
I agree. This isn't a mining application for Mr. Singletary. This is a countywide ordinance, and we'll be able to deal with each individual case. And of course, when the haul route is provided, if it says it's passing by a school, of course we're concerned about that, and we'll take it in consideration and try to see case by case what needs to be done. We can cross that bridge when we get there, and like Commissioner Stanley pointed out, you'll be back and you'll remind us, hey, that goes to the school zone. We care about children. This is a countywide ordinance. I don't want mines everywhere all over Glades County, but Glades County has resources that we need an ordinance for that could possibly benefit our county. So, like I said, I don't want mines everywhere, but, and they won't be everywhere because this ordinance right here, this ordinance right in front of us, and the special exceptions that have to be applied for. So there are plenty of restrictions in this ordinance, and there are plenty of, for lack of a better way, hoops that the property owner or the potential mine business have to jump through. And all this is to protect the county. So, and of course, we're concerned about the children in school zone. But this right here is not an application for a mine to go to Muse past the school zone. This isn't what this is.
Sure, if I may, I have looked at this ordinance on how does it protect me in my property. You know, it can happen. I don't have any inside knowledge, but they could come down right down the road from me, gather spoil from the river, muck, sand rock, whatever it is. And if that were to happen, how does this protect me? Roads is a big concern. We covered it. It's in here. It's not only that the roads have to be brought up to standard, but maintained at that standard. That was important for me. I have other concerns that may not be in this. You know, I don't want sand trucks running right in front of my house at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. Well, I think that's addressed in the special exception. You know, there's room to build on for this ordinance. I like the ordinance as is. I think when we get down to special exception, where we're actually talking about a specific mine, a specific haul route, that's when we craft into that community. That's my belief. I don't know what the rest of the board is, but that's my belief.
Mr. Sepp, you got anything?
I'm not gonna say anymore. It's nothing we say satisfies them anyway. We're not doing exactly what they want. We're trying to do the best we can, and it's not good enough, so let's make a decision and move on.
With that, I move to approve the adoption.
Do we have any more public input before we make some motion?
Chairman, will items 3 and 4 be clarified, maybe by the county attorney?
Not tonight.
Well,
Unless he wants to.
there's a very good
clarify.
chance that we, the group, are going to be bamboozled, and I think you are going to be bamboozled if, depending on how items 3 and 4 are resolved.
Do you want to expand on what a major collector road is?
If you want me to, yes, sir. There. Careful. Major collector road is defined as, major collector road for purposes of this code section is defined as streets having the primary purpose of collecting traffic from intersecting local and minor collector streets and distributing this volume to the nearest arterial. A secondary purpose is to carry moderate volumes of through traffic. Access to abutting land uses is a secondary function. So, Mr. Chairman, the comment that Mr. McLaughlin made in his handout and also in his presentation, in his points number 3 and 4, I believe those were the two that he just mentioned, is that he wants, I believe, what he's looking to have is a description or an added language to this description which says that something like, as an example, Loblolly Bay Road, Walter Greer Road, and County Road 731 are not major collector roads under that definition. I think that's what he's talking about, right?
Thank you, sir.
Yes. So that's what he's talking about, is under that definition of a major collector road as a street having the primary purpose of collecting traffic from intersecting local and minor collector streets and distributing this volume to the nearest arterial. Mr. McLaughlin's position is that Loblolly Bay Road, Walter Greer Road, and County Road 731 do not fall within that definition of major collector road. And he would like the ordinance to say that as an example.
Well, I don't see us, in this ordinance, I don't see us picking out a specific road and making a definition of it. I think it would be in the definition that you just read, and it would be up to the road official to determine the definition of that, in my opinion. But I don't think we need to list every road in the county in this ordinance, if it's a major collector, if it's not. If the definition should be, it's clearly stated, just what you read, and if they're not, it would be up to an attorney to approve they are or they aren't. But I don't think that we need to go to that fine definition in this ordinance to define every road in the county, whether it's a major collector or not. That's my personal opinion.
I agree.
Now, when there is a mine permit put in, and then that can be brought up as a definition, are these major collector roads, but for this ordinance, I don't think it needs to be there.
Chairman Stanek. In the prior meeting early this month, it was talked about extensively how the roads were going to have to be brought up to standards, not where the roads where you're accessing. We just offered this as an example. It goes out onto Loblolly Bay Road, Walter Greer Road, 731. In that meeting for hours, it was talked about those roads would have to be upgraded to the same type of road they would be tying into, alluding to State Road 29. okay? The ordinance begs of clarification because it says that the mine has to open onto a major collector road, okay? And that's why it's in items 3 and 4. If you don't clarify it tonight and do it in the ordinance, the countywide ordinance, then you are choosing to be bamboozled, but we, the public, do not want to be bamboozled. Thank you.
So the ordinance doesn't say that they would have to upgrade the roads? I thought that's what we did say.
It does.
What's left to interpretation, that will haunt all of us forever and ever, all of these people and whatever, particularly the ones right in use. It can be determined that that is already a collector road, a major collector road. And so if you're telling the applicant he has to upgrade the road to being equal to when it gets to a major collector road, and he learns that it's already a major collector road, you're telling him he doesn't have to upgrade it at all. And that would be a real shame. It begs of clarification, and it warrants taking a few more minutes. And again, Mr. Whitten, yourself, you said, and we were talking about what happened 2 weeks ago, a few moments ago, you were of the opinion that the roads were going to have to be upgraded to meet what they were going to go tie into. One can interpret by legal interpretations that one could argue that it's already a major collector road. And it is not, it should not be. But if it is successfully argued by some attorney, as you recommended, then we're stuck with no upgrades, no shoulders, nothing happening to the roads.
Well, I thought it said in the ordinance that it had to be upgraded to FDOT standards to be a whatever road. But if that's not in there.
Y'all can thank me later for drawing it to your attention. Thank you.
These chairs are not made for senior citizens.
Let's come up first.
Susan Stevens again, Your Honor. I just wanted to point out that it is in there, and it's in minimum criteria F1A, that the ingress and egress must be directly from a public paved road classified as a major collector road or greater. Ingress and egress from the mining property shall be on a roadway that meets the Florida Department of Transportation stability factor for a major collector road. If the roadway does not meet the FDOT stability factor, the property owner shall bring that portion of the road up to the FDOT stability factor until it intersects with a road that meets the FDOT stability factor. So it's in there. And then there's the added language that we read earlier about maintaining that.
Thank you.
Just state your name and address for the record, please.
Sharon Schroeder, I live in Maple Corner, 347 Fallbrush Avenue. I'd like to ask the whole board, how many of you have been on those roads back there?
I have.
You have? Okay. We drive them all the time because we're right there. But if you take a look, those roads do not have a place to get off at. A lot of them have drops so your rainwater runs down. And my thought in looking at these trucks that are coming up and down 29 now, hauling dirt and all sorts of things, they don't really drive at a reasonable speed. And they don't really care what your little car is doing, okay? You've got bends in the road, some really bad bends in the road out there. And I think somebody needs to really take a couple people out, look at the road, look at the sides. They don't even look wide enough for a truck and a car to pass. And if you've got other cars along the school, and I've been out there when they've been doing pickup or drop off, and if you look at the where those cars are, you're not going to get a truck by there at all. So I think somebody really needs to take an intelligent look at the area that you're talking about. Maybe there are wide open areas in this county, and I've seen an awful lot of them, where you could do that type of an operation. But to put it right there in the middle of housing with roads that aren't really made for this type of thing, and schools with children in them, and people walking on the sides because there are sidewalks, maybe in front of the school, but that's about it. You're looking for disasters to happen back there. And I would really want you to take an intelligent look and study that yourself, not leave it up to other people to look at it for you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Yes, sir.
Need it for long.
Come on up. Just state your name and address for the record.
My name is John Schlitter, 347 Bottom Brush Avenue, and Maple Corner. My background is I have 30 years of law enforcement behind me. And part of those years were in traffic unit and with the planning board. So I know what's going on here, and I understand with the commissioners and everything. You were saying another way out. There is no other way out except to go past the school. The road next to the school, I can't remember the name. Pollard. First of all, they can't use that, and that road's so small. Plus, it has the hairpin turns. And the thing is, when you come down to Wooden and 29, that is not a T intersection. 29 has a curve in it. And we have had so many accidents with people coming and cutting short coming into Wooden Avenue. And with the dump trucks, if they go out and they want to make a right, they are going to go out in to the center of that road and impede northbound traffic on 29. And again, your roads, you take an example right here at the locks, Fortuna. There's a sand pit up there. Those roads are too low. Those people that go back in there to go camping have to pull in $200,000 motorhomes or something back in there across the roads at potholes. They're not fixing them. Whose road is it? And I've dealt with this a long time, and I understand your position, and I appreciate you bringing up the school. And Mr. McLaughlin, that's all. I had to say.
Thank you. Like I say, this is an ordinance on mining in the county. It's not one particular mine. So when we do a special exception, we're going to be back in here, you're going to be looking at the route, you're going to be, and the board might say, you're not going past the school, maybe you're going out Fire Tower Road. There is another way without there. But, so that's all. This is a start of putting some kind of regulations on mines, and that's where we're at. This is the beginning tonight. This ain't the entire picture, but I think it's given us the ability to make the choices that you want us to make when the special exceptions come. Sean, did you have something?
No, sir.
So I'll take public comment one more time. Seeing none, we will move on.
I hear the people, I understand their concerns. I just want to reiterate that this is a county-wide ordinance, that more detail comes in through the special exception. I think as far as this, I think it's got to be covered. If something happens right down the road for me, this is going to take care of the roads, which we've heard about, this school zones that can be addressed when we get a hauling route. I think we're covered in this. And with that, Mr. Chair, I move to approve the adoption of the ordinance of the Board of County Commissioners of Glades County, Florida, amending the Glades County Code of Ordinances Part 2, Land Development, Chapter 125, Land Development Regulations by amending Article 4, Supplemental Regulations, Division 3, Special Exception Use Regulations by adding a new section 125-329, mining, mineral, and extraction and processing, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for codification, providing for scrivener's errors, providing for conflict, providing for liberal construction, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Second. And with that, I do want to.
Let me add to that, excuse me one minute, with the changes Mr. French spoke of earlier. You talked about adding.
Related to the haul route?
Yes.
Changes
yes.
In case the haul route is in,
right,
terminates in the county.
Right.
Okay.
No, second about it, and I would like to say, thank you to everyone who comes out to and voices your opinion. Please remember, this isn't an application for a mine in use. This is an ordinance that the county needs to help protect the county. And, this is where we're starting.
All right, I got a motion by Commissioner Whitten, second by Commissioner Taylor. Is there any discussion? And we'll do a roll call vote. Ms. Up is yes. Commissioner Sapp?
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Commissioner Whitten?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. All right, I told you I would open. Did you need something?
No, sir.
I would open public comment back up. Now, does anybody have anything they want to talk about in public comment that's related to, not on the agenda? Seeing none, we will move on with our agenda. All right, number 2 is the consent agenda, which is county warrants.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, I'll need to abstain from voting on the Taylor Electric item as he is a relative.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve county warrants for the period noted.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sapp, second by Commissioner Whitten, with Commissioner Taylor abstaining from all bills from Taylor Electric. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 4-0. All right, public input on business agenda items. Anyone wishing to provide public comment on agenda item, please file a comment card on the table at the entrance to the commission chambers. Please note all comments on agenda items are limited to 3 minutes and/or the board's discretion. Business agenda starts with number 3, consider extending the moratorium for a special exception application for mining operations.
Chair, Commissioners, this was provided in case the board had quite a few changes that he felt needed to be made and that staff would need to bring it back in another hearing. So, your motion did not include anything coming back to you, so this is not necessary.
So do we still need a motion to?
So moved.
Please. So, when I said everything that I said at the last board meeting, when Ms. Bouchons understood what we were talking about with regard to extending the moratorium, the language that I had forgotten that is in the ordinances at the very end that says the effective date is the effective date will be the date of the filing of a certified copy with the Florida Department of State, which I think now is probably somebody else, but we still have to file the ordinance with the state of Florida before it becomes effective. I don't see me getting, and the current termination date of the moratorium is, and I don't see us getting this ordinance revised, signed, and a certified copy sent to the state of Florida before the 30th, if today's the 26th. So I didn't think about all that until today, and so the question is, I guess no, sir. Actually, my request is that you give us enough time to get this ordinance filed with the state of Florida. We'll do it as quickly as we can, but I would say it might be a few days into September before everything comes together.
As soon as we get it, the signatures, it's emailed to the state.
Okay, and an email is fine, and
And they
that's,
send us confirmation that they've received it.
so maybe, what do you think, the 7th of September would be enough time if today's the 26th and
Next
Yeah.
Friday is the 6th.
next Friday is the 6th? Would that be sufficient?
Yeah, as soon as we get it, we'll send it.
Okay. All right.
Sufficient when you.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
So is my motion still good?
So, if we can just say,
Well, we can send it by the 30th, so we can work your magic.
So if I got something to you tomorrow with the revised language,
But we'll need his, y'all's signature.
chairman's signature will need to be done, then you'll need to send a certified copy to the state. And you think you can get all that done by the 30th?
Well, we'll need your signature as well, on the ordinance, right?
Yes, ma'am, that's true. I was gonna ask for an extra few days just to make sure that we had time to get it all filed. Can we do that? Would you, this is a big deal, I would like to have a few more days' time just to make sure we get it right. The only application, the only potential operation that I can think out there is Mr. Singletary's. I don't think a 5-day time period would
I
be.
don't think we're gonna be ready to file in 5 days.
Okay. So then, if I could have that, so we could say what?
September 6th, there's no
Okay,
Friday.
so 6 days, I'm sorry, instead of 5. Can we have until Friday, September 6th? If you could move to extend the moratorium until Friday, September 6th, that would be great, please.
Second.
And I apologize, Mr. Shawns, for not letting you know I was gonna do that beforehand.
All right, I got a motion by Commissioner Sapp, second by Commissioner Whitten, to extend the moratorium for special exception for mining operations to September 6th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0.
Who did you say seconded?
What's that?
Who seconded the motion?
All right, number 4. We all done here now on this part? It's not the night, we gotta let some do it. Number 4, lien relief application from Equino Harvesting, is that how you say it? Equino?
Yes, the Community Development Department was contacted by Ms. Pequeno. She had bought some property at a tax deed sale, and the property is located on Marshall Fields Road. It's approximately 1.17 acres in size. Parcel number ID is A33-42-29-A00-004A-0000. And when Ms. Pequeno purchased the property, there were unpaid fines that were accruing from the previous landowner, Mr. Pohill. And Mr. Pohill, he has a code case that was number 2587. And the history on that is Mr. Pohill purchased the property in 1999. A code violation was found on the property, and a notice of violation was issued in October 2009. And a citation was issued in January 2010. And then on February 9, 2010, case number 2587 went to court, and the judge established a fine of $20 a day in case number MO 10-02. Also, part of the history is there was a case number 718 when it was owned by Gerald Dowdy. And Mr. Dowdy purchased the property in 2018 in a lien, and it had a lien from case number 2587. In 2019, a code violation was found on the property, and the code enforcement officer issued a notice of violation for case number 718. Case number 718 never went to court. The status of both of those cases, case number 2587 and case number 718, the code enforcement officer re-inspected the property this year on May 8, 2024, and the code violations have been brought into compliance, and case number 2587 and case number 718 were closed. The fines from case number 2587 have accrued to a total of $104,040 in total. And she is asking the Board of County Commissioners to consider a total reduction in fine, and as we have done in the past with these lien requests that have come before you, the county staff has recommended that the county administrative cost of $500 for this code case be paid by Mrs. Pequeno, and the Board of County Commissioners reduction of accrued MOB fines for case number MO 210-02, and no notice of violation, case number 2587, do not reduce or remove any clerk of court's fees. And I have attached for you the number of days in the year that this code violation was affected and with its total.
That's why we gotta fix our code enforcement, so we don't have these 20-year liens that nobody ever pays, and then, I mean, we do this all the time, and it's, if they did clean the place up, then it's all.
Yes, sir.
What's the value of the property, $5,000? We know.
I don't have that information, I could look it up on my phone.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's not $104,000, and I could not agree with you more. I mean, goodness. I know we've done it in the past, but if I have 2 lots in the city of Moore, I just let them go, and I've got junk cars and stuff there, and my fine is more than the value of the property. We're just gonna let it ride out 20 years, and then when somebody sells it, or it gets sold, I'm gonna, forgive the fines. I don't like doing that, so it doesn't encourage people to get their properties cleaned up in violation in a, speedy manner.
I know Henry's County has started foreclosing on their liens, but I don't know what point, I know if they're homesteaded, you can't really mess with it, but, we need to think about, well, what's lawful first. When it gets to 50% of the lot, 75% of the lot, or whatever, we should start foreclosing on these people and tell them to pay up with whatever, but I'm almost positive that you can't do it if somebody's homestead. That's something that maybe you could look into the code and see what, or the law, and see what we can do and what we can't do. I hate to put somebody out of their home, but this is ridiculous. I mean, this has been going on since 2010.
I do agree, and there are properties that no one's on, it's almost like they're abandoned. And it makes it bad for the neighbors, because nothing's ever done. I was just speaking with Ms. June, a couple weeks ago about this. So I agree, we really need to do something. And,
I can probably fill both hands naming out all those various things, I can name them out in the county that's just been going on forever. And
why did the case in 2019 never go to court? Do you?
It just, the code officer didn't follow up with it.
You've probably seen all the liens and what the heck? There's more on it.
And Miss Pekino, she hasn't had any code violations, she
No.
cleaned it up. Well,
Property that's out there that she's purchased is now, it's clean.
I'd throw out, man, with all this property's been through, time and time again, evidently code enforcement officers have been out there since 2009 and going. I don't know if $500 covers our cost. I'll entertain more money.
I think in the past we charged them $5. I don't. Maybe we need to make some kind of ruling that we're, in the future, we're going to have a set price of what we I don't know how, I mean, it's kind of what the property's worth, but I feel sorry for somebody that buys it. They should have done their research before they bought it.
There's a burden on the property, on the buyer to find these, number one. Number two, this does not happen very often that I'm aware of. It does happen, but as the rule currently is written, you have the flexibility to reduce or not to reduce the outstanding fines on a case-by-case basis. So I'm not aware that it happens very often. It may happen, and I'm not aware of it, but I'm just not aware of many instances where this happens. Most of the time it happens when somebody catches somebody does a title search and sees that there are a bunch of liens on the property, and then they come and ask for that forgiveness to occur. But I don't think it happens very often. The regulations give you some flexibility, and the foreclosure topic is a different topic. If you want to start foreclosing on parcels, then that's a different topic altogether, and you can ask us to put together a list of what's out there, and you can decide which ones you want to pursue.
But how hard is it, I mean, is it a lot of detail for us to search for liens on all the property that we have liens on, or is that something that's easily, you hit on a button and it all pops up, or you gotta do a lot of digging to find that?
We're not a title company, so, I mean, we can search for liens, but we tell everybody, you really need to go to a title company.
But I mean, for the county themselves, if we wanted to know if we had liens, but we don't have lien on it, we just have fines on it, so it's really not a lien, it's just a fine. What's that?
For county property, or?
No,
For liens on, okay.
Properties that have liens on them.
Something like this, but was that actually a lien, or is that just a fine that they owe? I mean,
Well, and that's the other problem is
$20 a day.
Several layers of impact or of judgment status. I mean, some of the old ones, and this is an old one, depending on what the language of the order said, as an example of imposing fine, ma'am.
This one never went to court, so it wouldn't have showed up. There was no judgment, right?
The first one did or did not?
The first one did.
The first one did, but not the second one. Is my understanding, but even so.
The judge
On a
established a
case
fine
by
of
case,
$20 a day.
well, on a case by case basis, you're gonna have to look to see what that order said, that final order. And if it had some magic words in it, I'll define them, I'll call them magic words that says that you have a lien, an ongoing continuous lien against the property, and then you have the question of whether it was re-recorded and in public records, and so there's some steps. I'm not sure that the steps have always been followed. And so the quality of your lien might not be
sufficient,
the same every time, and may be insufficient in many cases, especially with regard to older items.
One thing I know for a fact, what it stated on here correctly, it's 1.17 acres. Even at today's value, it's, I mean, maybe another 100 years it'll be worth $104,000. We ain't getting that. But I don't want to do 500. I don't think that covers the aggravation that we have in it. And I don't know what a fair number is. I'll spitball $2,000. Maybe that covers, at least we don't lose money on it. Maybe. I'm not even sure it's that.
So administrative cost, Chair, if I may, it would be the code officer, it would be Miss Allen, the office manager who spends time getting the information together. And then when it's provided to me, would be my time writing the staff report, doing research. If I have questions, we have to call the landowner, things like that. If the county attorney were involved, or if I need to go speak to Miss Fisher, then their time would be.
Excuse me, but it looks like we got a judge involved as well in one of these. So, I mean, we've got skin in this game. I don't want to take it on the chin for just $500. I get it that violations are corrected, lauding whoever done that, but I'm not sure $500 makes us whole. I'm not even sure 2,000 does it.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, but was the ball dropped somewhere in the county? Was the ball dropped somewhere in the county for all these code violations to keep accruing and someone not be held accountable? Like, in 2019, it never went to court.
Correct. Had it got, I don't know how it got dropped, but the fines were occurring from 2010 case. Not 2019. Had it gone to court, I'm not sure. what I think, I'm not sure what the judge would have done.
So, the property was sold with the fines still owed. I don't know that there's anything that the county can do about
I mean,
that.
the lady could just keep holding it and just not pay the fines, and I don't know. If she applies for a building permit, do we give them a building permit?
But she cleaned it up though, right? That's gotta be worth something.
Somebody pointed it out.
Somebody cleaned it up. But it got cleaned up after Ms. McKenna purchased the property?
Yeah, I would assume.
I would have to go back and look at the files. I don't have that answer, ma'am.
But it's cleaned up.
But it's cleaned up. Because it was inspected in May of this year. And it was inspected because she called the department and says, you know, I bought this property, it has all these fines on it, but there's no issues. So the code officer went out there and checked it, and she was correct, there's no violations.
Okay, well, I agree somewhat with Commissioner Whitten, but I don't know that this lady's responsible, so I'd recommend to approve to reduce all fines for the county administrative cost of $500, and this reduction in fines does not include all clerk of court fees, and allow the chair to sign.
So, do I get a second?
I'll second.
I got a motion by Commissioner Taylor, second by Commissioner South. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
No.
Opposed? No. Passes 3-1. But I think in the future, we want to look at raising that up to maybe some percentage of how much is owed or something. Even at that, you might be way over.
And I'm not a direct offense of Commissioner Taylor's, motion. I just don't know that $500 puts us on. That was my biggest sticking point. I don't want to lose money on these, and I do appreciate the fact that whoever cleaned up the property, because I know if you live around something like that, you want it cleaned up. It's an asset, so you're willing to accept whoever does it. But just my biggest hinge of it, I didn't think $500 put us on, but I'm glad the property's cleaned out. Hopefully she maintains it.
All right, we'll move on. Number 5, accept state funded agreement for NGCS implementation project DMS-P1-24-07-03. This is the one I love.
Thank you so much. You're going to get a refreshment one of those.
Emergency Services, Emergency Management, and 911 Coordinator. So this funding is for a 5-year grant for our next generation core services. There's actually 2 separate grants on this agenda item. The next one is for there's year 1 and then year 2 through 5 for a total. It's 140 and some change, but we're asking for the board to approve us encumbering those funds and to have the chairman sign the grant agreements.
So you need 2 different motions?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I guess we'll read one, vote on it, go to the next.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I move to accept the funds and grant number DMS-P1-24-07-03 in the amount of $38,325.48 for year 1 services for next generation 911 services, and authorize the chairman to sign the grant agreement.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Whitten, second by Commissioner Taylor. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. Okay.
Mr. Chair, I move to accept the funds and grant number S26-24-07-04 in the amount of $100,367.52 for year 2 through 5 services for next generation 911 services, and authorize the chairman to sign the grant agreement.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Whitten, second by Commissioner Taylor. Any discussion?
Yes, thank you, Marissa. You were the highlight of the night. Just in the right place.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. All right, number 6, award contract with IN Digital for Next Generation 9/11 services.
So to prepare for those grant agreements, we went out to bid, and this is actually a Region 6 project, so Digital will take over all of Region 6, so the goal is for all of us to be interoperable. So we're asking for the board to accept Digital's contract, and they will provide services year 1 through 5, and then the goal is to continue the services year 6, hopefully 6 through 10, unless technology changes.
So everybody in the district is on the
Yes.
system? Okay, that's great.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the contract with InDigital for Next Generation 9/11 services and authorize the chairman to sign the contract.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Whitten, second by Commissioner Sapp. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. Number 7, RFP 2024-03, debris monitoring contract. I'm glad you guys are getting so late.
Actually, the contract, our current contract ended.
It's still up to this one, okay.
It's still valid, so, on July 10th, we, did the request for proposal for debris monitoring services. We had 4 responses, from that proposal. After staff reviewed, the recommendation was made to move forward and award a 5-year contract with, Debris Tech LLC for debris monitoring services. So we're asking for the board to accept our recommendation and to move forward with negotiating a contract with them.
Sure, if I may, is this who we use through Ian?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you guys had a good report, everything was,
Yeah. We received 100% of our FEMA funding with them.
And they actually provided probably the best presentation, for the, within the RFP.
okay. Good. Mr. Chair, I move to approve the staff recommendation of Debris Tech LLC and allow the staff to move forward with the contract negotiations and authorize the chairman to sign the contract with that agreement.
Motion by Commissioner Whitten, second by Commissioner Sapp. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. Do we have a contract with a contractor to pick it up?
We do. That contract actually ends next year, so we'll go out for bid for, management contract next year.
Good deal. All right, number 8, encumbering funds for emergency strategy.
Good evening, Cindy Ricker from the record. The first one is encumbering funds for emergency strategy. This is, these applicants came in, they're moderate income, they have a septic system that needs repair. They're gonna put in a new infiltrator tank and abandon the existing septic tank. And then their AC is leaking Freon, so I'm having to get AC estimates.
So they're not anywhere where there's a sewer system, right?
No.
Is this one of the new modern septic tanks that do all this stuff?
It's one of the, yeah, they had one there at the time with the system they have, but now they're putting in a new one, bringing it up to code.
And just repairing the septic system.
The septic system, yes, ma'am. It's a drain field and everything.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the encumbered funds for emergency septic tank repairs for Mr. and Ms. Rich.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sapp, second by Commissioner Taylor. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. Number 9, Jerry Albright at 1120 River Run, Lavelle, Florida, ship recipient to satisfy mortgage with Glades County Board of County Commissioners.
This is Aubrey. She came and we helped her buy her house. She had purchase assistance, and then she had a rehabilitation on her house. One of her mortgages is set to
is set to satisfy. She's done the term and she's been a very good resident. The second one is still on there for about 4 years. And the approximate balance is $16,650. She is now having to sell her house because she became disabled and she's no longer able to work. So that's the reason for her selling, so she can go live with her daughter up north. Of course, she's trying to get her nest egg together, so she asked me if I could come before you all and see if that would be possible. And I told her I would.
So, she's gonna pay off what she owes if she sells the house?
No, she's asking for you to satisfy her.
Can we do that? I thought that if they didn't go through the full term, we had to pay it back. I don't know. Is that legal?
I thought so too. I haven't looked at this in some time, so I can't tell you for sure, but I believe the way the mortgage is written, she has to comply with the requirements.
Right,
of the
which
mortgage
is what I
or-
told her, that I didn't know if anything could be done at all, but I would bring it before you and plead her case, so that's what I'm doing.
Well, I don't have a problem with it as long as it's legal. But I thought that was part of the term. They had to live there 10 years, or if they didn't live there 10 years, they had to pay back. I mean, lady probably, I don't know what the place is worth, but I guess we would have to, I don't know what we would do with this until Mr. Pringle finds out.
Yes, sir, I can't tell you tonight. And I would need to see, I would need to look at the.
So can we continue it to the day meeting?
Mr. Chair, I move to table this until the next
Just,
day.
no, continue it, don't table it.
Continue this to the next day meeting.
Did you second that?
Yes.
All right, we got a motion by Commissioner Wood, second by Commissioner Taylor to continue this till the next day meeting. Any discussion? All in favor?
No.
Opposed? That's 4. Okay, number 10, encumbering funds for purchase assistance.
This young woman, she's a single mother and has 2 children, and she does have an approval the pre-approval to buy a house. The one that she was looking at, the realtor said that he knows that the AC needs replacing. I'm waiting on the home inspection and also to inspect the house to see if she needs really rehabilitation on it. So right at this time, I'm just encumbering funds for the purchase assistance, not the rehab. Which when they bring the inspection to me, I go over it and I go and look at the house, and our building official or the inspector can go too, to see if it is worthy of buying, what she's buying, if she's gonna be able to maintain it, you know, if there is problems and stuff, just to make sure that she's buying something that will.
So this is a partial payment on, I mean, it's not the cost of the whole house?
No, it's $20,000, it's for purchase assistance, which is down payment. If there's any left over, it could go towards buying down the principal sum. Basically, the fees to close, the closing costs.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I just worry that, doing this before a house inspection, I mean, there could be shoddy plumbing, shoddy wiring, and the roof, whatever.
Right, and I'm not okaying the contract with that, I'm just okaying that she can have, that she is eligible for purchase assistance, so that when she goes back to her lender, she can see that she does have that, and this is only for 90 days. And after 90 days, if she doesn't have a contract on a house, then this is null and void, she'd have to come back again. Or if you would like to extend it, they could do that, but at this time, this is only good for 90 days. It shows something she can take to a lender, she's already been pre-approved by one, but that's normally how we do it.
But you're gonna look at the house too, make sure that
I
it's
do.
livable?
Yes,
I don't wanna spend $20,000 on something that we're gonna tear down.
No,
May I
and
say
it's,
something? I'm sorry. But on the agenda, it has the same address as the previous agenda item that we just
I
continued.
noticed that, but she has called me since then, since I did this, and she is not getting that house.
So it's not, the purchase house is not the 1120 River Run?
That is what the realtor told me that it was, but she told me that that wasn't the right house, so she has to look for one. She called and asked me how long this was good for, and I told her 90 days, because that one wasn't
Okay, I
what
just
she.
wanna make sure because they continued the previous agenda item, so I didn't. Okay.
So basically, what she applied for was just purchasing, purchase assistance. So I don't have any contract on any place yet, which is not unusual with purchase assistance. But it gives them a time, they can take the letter saying they do have purchase assistance to the lender with them. And it shows that they have a down payment and they have that. After that, everything has to come in and it has to be inspected. It has to go through all of that before anything is done check-wise.
Who is paying for the home inspection?
They are.
She's paying.
So, I mean,
Just like a buyer.
you're confusing me. You told me that you don't even know what house she's looking at, but this thing says that she needs, AC needs replacing and waiting home inspection. And how do you know that it needs AC replacement? We only know what house
Well,
she's
like I
buying.
said, the realtor that I talked to told me that, and I wrote this up. And then the woman that is asking for the purchase assistance, she called me back and she wanted to know how many days, because that house wasn't gonna work for her. While I'm standing here, I'm reading what I wrote, and I came across that.
Well, I would say that we would just, okay, 20,000 for
Right.
assistance at this point,
Right.
and we'll worry about,
Well, yeah, we don't know what house.
yeah.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, so, yeah, I'm a little confused too, thank you for pointing that out to me. So the encumbering funds for the emergency, strategy, let me see if I'm at the right one. Or maybe, sorry.
The emergency is for
Oh,
realtor.
excuse me, not that one, the Jerry Aubrey at 1120 River Run, LaBelle.
Mhm.
They're the ones that want to satisfy the mortgage,
Yes,
but we
we take it.
continued that.
Yes.
Now, that's the same address that's on this for encumbering funds.
That's the address I was given, but we're not doing it on that one.
So we don't know if it needs AC replacing because
We don't know the
she
house.
don't know what house she wants
Right.
to use it for.
Like I said, I typed this up, I was trying to get this into, it was late, I was trying to get it into, and
But
I
I,
got to.
but like I say, I think we should just, okay, 20,000 for assistance, and then we figure out what house she gets, and then we'll decide on how much we're gonna give her to.
Right, that's why I said I'm only asking for the purchase assistance this time.
So, Mr. Chair, I move to approve to encumber funds of $20,000 for purchase assistance for the rehabilitation for Ms. Glenn.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Taylor, second by Commissioner Sapp, is there any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? That's 4. Number 11, encumbering funds for owner-occupied rehabilitation and emergency strategy for Vera L. Broughton, 408 Oakmont Avenue, Moore Haven, Florida.
Vera was, she was living in this house with her daughter, and I guess she's really disabled. I guess the daughter actually took a lot of advantage of her. The house is bad. The roof is fallen through to where it's fallen through into the closet. The insulation, there's no flooring. The doors don't even lock or anything. You can't hold it up. And she's moved in with her daughter in LaBelle. In doing research on this, Miss Broughton, she has had use of SHIP funds before. She only has, out of that 28,000 that is available to stay within the 100,000 that she has. And the emergency that is 25. So that's what she's looking at. It will put her over with the emergency, but this place is really bad. I don't know what we can do for her. I'm asking, I would like to use the 28 that's remaining on of her lifetime limit, and possibly if we could do the emergency with the roof and the AC.
I mean, is the place worth investing this money in it? That's the question.
It's a CBS house. It was a ship house at one time. Back, I forget what year it was built. But, it's not livable right now at all. There's no cabinets in it. There's no, and I told her I didn't know how much I could do because she just doesn't have the money in allotted to her that would really do a whole lot.
So I'm running out of money really quick in my head.
Yeah, because
AC,
I figured,
I'm
yeah.
getting a lot of money racked up in my head.
So how much money does she have available? You said 28,000?
28,000 on the regular mortgage side, and then the emergency, 28,000 total for the 100,000.
So
The
she's
25 would be as an emergency.
That's something
but
that's
we add
allowed
that.
to add?
It would be an extension of that money, it would be on there. The 25 is a grant, but that is added towards their whole 100,000, so it would be more than that.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, so she's used SHIP money before and has 28,000 left, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
What did she use that money for? Is it the
I
same
looked at
house?
the mortgage, it looks like the same house, I think she had the house done through HHRP.
And somebody destroyed her house while she was living in it.
Well,
That's
they
unfortunate.
did
I
it
hate that
and they
happens.
moved them out, and then they went back in there because the doors don't lock, and they went in there and stripped the cabinets and started a fire at the front of the door, where you could see where it was burnt, but it didn't burn the house. And they're just using it, there's no way to lock anybody out.
So this is other people that moved in with her that did the damage to the house?
I don't know if, cause it's.
I mean, are they gonna come back?
I don't know, they don't
It's
know.
unfortunate, I hate that for her, but
Yeah.
she might need to go to law enforcement for some of that
Yeah.
she's out of.
I just,
So, Mr. Chair, if I may, so what is the total amount she's allowed to get? We're saying 28,000. In an emergency, what's the total amount that we're allowed to?
emergency right now is 25, but that will be over the 100,000.
She'll have gone
So
over.
it'll be 125,000 at that point that she would have gotten.
And her lifetime limit is 100,000.
Yeah.
So she can't go over 100,000.
Right.
But she's already used all but 28,000. And I believe Ms. Ricker is asking for us
I was
to
asking to extend it. some.
extend it.
So 28,000 is the number, and we're wanting to extend it by how much? 25. But that's
Just
50, that's $53,000. Man, new windows,
And I don't know.
exterior
if those
doors,
people are gonna come back.
new AC, new roof. I think we're over.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, that's
But-
fine, that's fine.
My concern is that, and I don't know the rule off the top of my head, but my concern is if there's a lifetime limit of $100,000, and that applies to emergency funds as well, and then the cap is $28,000 left,
Yes.
then that's the total amount available. I think that's it, that's the total that's available. So anything over that lifetime limit of $100,000, you just can't do. I think that's.
Well, I know that we've made special exceptions before, so I wanted to help this person so that you could see and you make the decision as to what you wanna do.
I'm worried that even if we do that, the $53,000, just say I'm worried that won't get you there.
We don't want to invest in a house that's not livable.
Well, right, but I have gotten the quote on a roof for
I think, 9,000 and less than 5,000 on the AC. But that's as far as I've gotten, just trying to figure out how much money it was, just trying to have them go out and somebody look at it and tell me what they think it's gonna be, just so I have an idea, because it was adding up very fast.
Yeah,
And I was like, okay, you know, if I do the floor, you know, and the doors, get it, because you really would have to get the house sealed up before you could do anything on the inside to safeguard what's going on the inside.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. So she's, the same person has used $72,000 already of her, of a lifetime.
I'm just, and I'm not saying the board will or won't, I can't speak for the whole board, but even if we were able to get her to 53,000, I don't wanna get almost there
And
with that money, and then it's still not livable, and we just thought we could.
What I have,
I mean, it's sad, but 72,000 has already went toward this, and I don't know, like I said, if there's somebody coming in that's destroying the house, is she an older person?
she is an older person.
She needs
the
to,
daughter
there
that's
is
working.
elder abuse, there's something possible, I mean, because the county, I don't believe the county can just afford to give
I think
53
before
more
we go
thousand.
any further, you need to go out there and get an estimate of what it's gonna cost to make it livable. And
Well,
if that's 3 times what she's allowed, then there's no reason us to throw 28,000 into a hole.
And I was pushing this so that I could get your feeling. I already did the write-up and stuff, I had that all set. I set out to get a price on the roof and on the AC, because those were separate contractors. It wouldn't be the ones that would come in to do the other part. I have the write-up done today, which I was gonna have them go and look at it and give me those prices. The reason I'm rushing it is September 6th is my last day, so I'm trying to get this in front of you so that whoever's behind me, I'm trying to collect to do things so that they know where they're going with stuff. So I guess I've pushed it a little far.
Well, I think we need to know we need to know what it's actually gonna cost to fix the house. And is she gonna move into it once we get it?
Yes, and her daughter that is helping her now said that she would even move in there with her to make sure she's okay, because she can't stand up.
But if you come back to me, I mean, if it's gonna actually be 120,000,
Well,
she's gonna have to come up with some more money somewhere,
Exactly.
and we don't have that, you know?
Well, are we
That's
even
fine.
allowed to go over the 28,000, I guess that's first. And then even if we went the extra 25, would it be enough to make it a little bit more?
And it can be set in precedence too, and I don't wanna seem like I'm not compassionate toward
No, that's okay. I wanted to put
this,
it there, at least
this
I can
lady, but I
instruct
think
whoever
she
comes
needs,
to do it.
I think she needs some different kind of help, you know, with her situation.
Question. You said her daughter would be moving in with her? Does that
After.
change, like, the income
The
level
income.
issue?
No, because it would be after the fact. She's talking about that she would go in there if she's not living there now. What they do after, I can't police everything that happens.
I would say,
You can just table it. I mean, that's fair. I wanted your inputs. At least I know which way to go with this to.
well, we just need a clear price. I mean,
That's-
I'd love to give her the money, but I wanna know what it's actually gonna cost to build. And if we can't give her the money, I
Then
don't
you're gonna
wanna
have
put
to do
new
something
cabinets in
sell
the rock in
it.
the
but-
house and they can't fix the roof, then
Well-
we're back in the same place.
Yes, sir.
Where I think I'm at, first of all, legally, it can be, since we know 28,000 is not gonna cover that, so if we can't go beyond that, well, it's a done point. And, man, I'm not sure 53 gets you there, windows are expensive, ACs aren't cheap, roofs.
I was doing with those little houses that they did, there's not too many windows in them, there's very few. But, and the cost that I've been getting for windows and stuff, I was working on that today.
We'll find out what 28,000 will do, and then find out if we can give her the extra 25, and then we can go from there.
Do you want to table it then?
Yeah, we'll continue it till the next meeting.
Okay, that's fine.
Continue.
I just need a motion to continue this.
Or so maybe.
I got a motion by Commissioner Witten, second by Commissioner Taylor to continue this for the next meeting. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4. Well, looks like we got many. Andy, you got anything? No?
I don't have anything.
Okay. County attorney. County manager.
Yes, sir. I just have one quick thing. I just wanted to make the board aware that we did receive a resignation from the planning and zoning board, from Mr. Jeffrey Patterson. So, Sue and I have already talked about it before I actually received the resignation. So we are going to go ahead and advertise that position both on our website and in the newspaper, and collect, applications, but I just wanna make sure the board knew that we were in that process.
And, you want to tell them that they got a grant for $40,000?
Yes. I did send an email. We did receive, we were awarded a grant for $40,000. Sue, was instrumental in that. And that is for our impact fee study. The Regional Planning Council, Central Florida Regional Planning Council actually submitted that grant for us. So we haven't received all the grant documents yet, but that's good news.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Anything from the sheriff's department?
No.
Anything department head? Let me see. Just sure you don't want to bring up another ordinance tonight?
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll move on to commissioners. Commissioner Sal.
Mr. Pringle and Mrs. Bouchon. I've been getting some calls from the North Lake Estates people about some problems with Morris DePue, or however you said it. Yep. And there's some items that need to be corrected, that they need to get taken care of so that they can move forward. And if y'all don't know what they are, I'll show you this whenever we adjourn. But they need to be taken care of immediately. And that's all I have.
Mr. Taylor.
I don't have much, only the last, community meeting I went to at Washington Park. They need a different type of flooring there. The flooring, it's just like, I don't even know what you would call it.
Like gym floor, like rubber matting.
It's like rubber matting, and it's also they have some problems with their light fixtures, so.
I'll talk to Archie, we'll get this.
Archie's also getting us a quote on some millings to put out there too, so.
And then the development that on, Inlet Court. No, the development that were put in the, Cleveland Clinic.
Yes, but I think they refer to that as Big Lake.
Do they?
I think that's what it's called.
Big Lake.
Where are we at on that and the permitting and the planning and zoning? It'll have to take a little bit off.
An application has been submitted for its rezoning. And where we are is we're getting together review comments for the application. And then I need to prepare a draft PD ordinance for them so that then they can work from that on anything they'd like to either talk about changing or adding. So that's where we are.
Okay, thank you. And you drive safe home, you gotta wait.
Oh.
And congratulations to the new commissioners we're gonna have up and coming in November. That's it.
Mr. Whitman.
The guy from Big Lake, he did call me and went out there as well. He's got a lot of grand plans. I'm sure he's talked to you, but his explanation to me, he wanted to do the first 100 acres. And then the rest of it's gonna be predicated on how the first 100 acre development sold as far as housing and stuff, and what he's kind of banking on the overflow from the casino is what it sounds like, and I don't know if you've ever tried to buy a house in Wake County. It is an impossible task. We got houses here, we got houses here. You know, if you're rocking a couple million in your account, you're good. Or you don't mind the single wide trailer on a lot of land and paying way too much for it, you're okay. But we just don't have that middle income housing, a lot of it. And I think that's my interpretation. That's what he's wanting to provide to the county. And I guess with the casino hiring probably over 1,000 people to run the new casino, he sees there being a big need for houses. I mean,
Correct, the PD is going to be phased, there's a phase one, that's the one that they're wanting to do first, which you said was the medical clinic.
And the townhomes.
And the townhomes, and then there'll be some little bit of commercial.
yeah, he's got a lot of ideas. Some of them, you know, I think, he said the casino, you know, there are only 100 rooms. He says, man, I don't think that's enough. I would like to have something to catch some of that overflow for, you know, so he's got a lot of ideas, but I told him, you know, all that other stuff is just icing on the cake, you know, that's just, housing is a big thing, you know, it's just providing housing will be, that'd be enough for me. So, you know, anything we could do to encourage him to start turning dirt, it would be a big asset to Wake County.
The application,
Excuse me, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt. We don't want to miss out on another opportunity for doing
well, the
that.
application was submitted, and in one review, it was totally complete.
Good.
So, they're doing a good job, and now my review comments that I have aren't onerous. There's not that many of them, but I haven't seen what Morris Depue's review comments are. But in other words, the fact that their application was complete when it came in is a good sign.
Good, good. I think, I'm sure he met with you guys, the starting price is around $340 is what he was trying to get you into, which is hard to believe today that's affordable housing, but if you look around the market just a little bit, I mean, stuff is going nuts. So that's as affordable, may not be affordable housing, but it's affordable as it gets. So I wish him all the luck. It is something needed in Wake County. That's all I have on that. Congratulations, Commissioner Sapp.
Oh, yes, he's
Stanley.
I got one more to go.
Commissioner Barnes, Commissioner Patterson, you guys, this is like the dirtiest political season I ever seen. I think every one of you held your heads up and conducted yourself in a gentlemanly fashion, putting out what your views were, what your assets were going to be, and I think the county's seen it. You know, there was some, man, this was just nasty. I'm glad it's over with, and I wasn't even in it. I'm sure you guys are glad it's over, but just congratulations to you guys, and you see how much fun it is. I mean,
They don't always last this long in the evenings.
They might from now on. I don't have a whole lot. I know Beth Barfield was going to talk about signs tonight, but she ain't here. But I also want to kind of add a little bit to that, that I think the county needs to look at an ordinance that's fair to everybody. And so I know a lot of communities have like 6 months before the election, signs go up or something like that, but these things starting 2 years ahead of time. I mean, we could already be starting another one tomorrow. And it's like, it's no fun going to these community meetings when there's nothing but, nobody really has any fun because all I listen to is the stuff that, I don't think we can stop anybody from registering and going through that procedure, but I think we can do some of the signs. And I guess it'd be up to the individual homeowners associations if they wanted to say, hey, you're welcome to come, but we're not going to listen to everybody speak for 2 years. So that would be something just because.
Henry County has an ordinance that it's 60 days.
Yeah, I think that
60 days before the election.
I think it shows 60 or 100 days.
no, that's just signage.
Yeah.
That's just putting up signs.
And then I think we need to emphasize where you can put the signs because we had signs like in the parks and everywhere, and I know they're not supposed to be there.
Like in the city or.
And get so many days to take them down.
Yeah, but anyway, we can work on that in the future. But I want to get something that everybody's good with. I don't want to just, but 2 years is too long to be campaigning.
See a need for that now after this.
I went to the Central or Southwest Florida Regional Planning Council, and they had a meeting over there the other day trying to reorganize to get it going again. And it was the same too. Me and Collier County were the only ones that showed up out of all the counties that are supposed to be there. But we had all the regional directors from all the RPCs all over the state of Florida were there. They're trying to get back together, but they asked me my opinion, and I said, I'm tired of waiting. I'm not ready to pack up and leave, and let's go somewhere else, because when the RPCs get up there and tell you all that they do for the county, I said, oh, I really love that, but I'm not getting none of that, and we're not paying that much, but, you know, we may look at the future of pulling out of there and joining somewhere else, but they did tell me in that meeting that we could use the Central Florida Regional Planning Council, even though we're not giving them money. We can go to them and ask them to help us with our planning and zoning and all that other good stuff that goes with it. But now Margaret Worstel, she's still in charge, the CEO. She came and gave me her business card and said, if there's any grants out there that you need, call me and I will write them for you for free. So, I mean, she's gonna probably get some kind of administrative fee out of them, but so that might be an option for like Washington Park and some of these other areas that we're trying to improve, that maybe she could write us some kind of community development grant. But I don't know if she can actually do that, but that's the other thing that the CDBG, I think we need to go ahead and apply for that again for Washington Park, because that's how we got the sewer plant in there last time. And I talked to somebody, we could, supposedly every 2 years we can do that. So I don't know, Fred Fox, I heard, retired. I guess his daughter is doing something of that nature, but I've asked June to see if she can't get an appointment with her to come down, and I know we'll have to do an RFQ process or whatever, but maybe she would have the goodness of her heart. She would come down and tell us what we can get and what we can't get out of a CDBG grant. And because, I mean, if the money's out there, there's possibilities of us get it. I'll play around because I know they qualify. There's no way that that community doesn't qualify. So other than that, I guess I'll be going to Pensacola sometime next month for the policy meeting. Long ride, but great day. Be alive. Anybody else got anything else you want to say before we close? All in? All right, we are adjourned at 9:16.